Giants Nation is absolutely in the building right now. We got some major breaking news that just broke in the New York Giants community. Jaxson Dart is about to get the start a week earlier than I probably anticipated here, going up against the Los Angeles Chargers. I've never been so excited to just see my own intro pop up because it is the beginning of a new era, y'all. And listen, I'm super excited, man. Let the games begin, y'all. Let the games begin. We talking about a season where the New York Giants starting off 0-3. Things looking completely sideways, and I know the expectations were not that high from the fan base this year. But now we got something to look forward to. We really got something to look forward to. We got our future franchise quarterback now taking over the reins for the New York Giants and an opportunity to see what he has. And this is what we all been waiting for. For a lot of y'all that don't know, I think a lot of y'all already know that Jaxson Dart was my quarterback too coming into the 2025 NFL draft. He started out as quarterback 3 for the New York Giants during training camp. And as the season progressed, he ended up taking that quarterback 2 job. And now we're looking at quarterback 2 maturing and transitioning into being quarterback 1. And listen, in what was a season that looked like it was just all but over already 3 weeks into the season. I mean, I don't know if you guys been on social media and seeing the back and forths that have been going on, not only between just the fans, but obviously between content creators, beat reporters, people that cover the team, all the stuff that's been going on. And it's just been a bit of a fiasco over the last couple of days here after the performance against the Kansas City Chiefs on Sunday Night Football. Now we could kind of just erase all of that and start out with a clean slate here with a new quarterback. We couldn't have asked for more in a season that was looking like it was just completely lost just 3 weeks into the season. Now we get to see Jaxson Dart for the possibility of 14 games. And for those of y'all that were here yesterday when we streamed live on the Giant Overreaction, we were talking about these exact topics. And now you're looking at Brian Daboll basically getting another shot and another lifeline, as I've been calling it, since the beginning of the season. And, you know, for the preservation of his job security, I thought that it might have been a good idea to go out there and start Russell Wilson up against the Chargers. But then when you start to think about it, the Chargers game is going to be another game at home for the New York Giants. What a better way to start out the Jaxson Dart era. Now, Brian Daboll and the New York Giants are absolutely in struggle mode. And this move doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to be winning more games, but I think that opportunity to be able to just see a different vibe at the quarterback position is something that all fans should be welcoming. I know a lot of y'all a little bit bitter, might think it's a little bit too early to throw Jaxson Dart out there to the Wolves, but in my opinion, Jaxson Dart has been ready, and I think he showcased that in the preseason matchups that he had. It's not to say Jaxson Dart's going to go out here and light up the scoreboard. I know a lot of people want to see, you know, the reincarnation of Daniel Jones versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers when he got his first start as a rookie. But this is a different team. This is a different quarterback. And most importantly, this is a different offense that does not have the necessary weapons. But this is the kind of circumstance that I want to see my quarterback thrown into. How many times have I been telling y'all over the last couple of weeks that to make the evaluation easier, I want to see Jaxson Dart with the same personnel that we saw Russell Wilson with? That's exactly what we're going to get on Sunday against the Chargers. Now, Brian Daboll, struggle mode is maybe saying it lightly. 3-17 in his last 20 games. The Giants have won just one of their last 15 games. And they just fell to 0-3. Lost to the Kansas City Chiefs in a game that was pretty inobtainable win, I'll say. Scoreboard definitely does not indicate that, but the game was a little bit closer than that scoreboard indicates. Now, a week ago, we did the Giant Overreaction on Monday, and we were talking about all these experienced NFL players and coaches that were saying the exact same thing, which was start Jaxson Dart. Brian Baldinger was saying start Jaxson Dart. Cam Newton was saying start Jaxson Dart. A coach that a lot of people have been throwing around as maybe that next candidate for the New York Giants, and John Gruden was saying start Jaxson Dart. And even Chris Carter was saying start Jaxson Dart. And now, y'all, I'm sure y'all heard the news already. We had Rappaport talking about it. We had Schefter talking about it. The New York Giants are planning to start Jaxson Dart on Sunday versus the Chargers. And it was a story that was broke by ESPN. Chargers coming in at 3-0. So this is definitely going to be a serious litmus test for not only Brian Daboll, but more importantly for Jaxson Dart. All of the 3 wins for the Los Angeles Chargers have came against divisional opponents. So we started off our season with 2 games on the road going up against NFC East opponents. The Chargers have now won 3 straight games against all opponents within that division. They beat the Broncos 23-20 last week. The week before that, they beat the Raiders 20-9. And the week before that, opening day, they beat the Kansas City Chiefs 27-21. Now, to me, those are very impressive victories, but there aren't no blowout victories on there, right? Those are all games that it seems like each of the 3 teams that the Los Angeles Chargers beat could have possibly beat them as well. But the Chargers are coming in hot, got a solid foundation at the quarterback position with Justin Herbert, who leads the NFL right now in passing yards with 860. He's tied for 5th in touchdowns. He's got the 8th best QBR behind Daniel Jones, 7 spots behind Daniel Jones. But instead of waiting for Jaxson Dart to have the ideal situation that I've been seeing a lot of New York Giants fans clamoring for, right? Like, we need to have the right situation for us to put Jaxson Dart out there and throw him to the Wolves. Instead, they are proactive, and instead of waiting that week against a team that would be a lesser opponent in the New Orleans Saints, Brian Daboll and the New York Giants go out there immediately and say that Jaxson Dart's going to get the start against the Los Angeles Chargers. Now, we saw a lot of people kind of digging into the press conferences that came out just a couple of days ago where Brian Daboll did speak to the media, and Brian Daboll pretty much let the cat out the bag. I mean, like, if you are a good judgment of character and you can kind of read when people are lying, you could tell that there was something definitely underneath what Brian Daboll was saying there when he was asked, is Russell Wilson the starter? I saw people kind of giving the beat reporters shit about it. Dan Duggan, Pat Leonard, a few others, like, why are you guys trying to dig up news that's not there? Well, those people were just completely wrong. I saw this one dude, Alex, that actually was the first person to break the story about Jaxson Dart getting the start this week. And I saw a lot of just, fuck it, we'll call them a bunch of fucking clowns in that dude's mention. Like, oh, man, there's always some dude on Twitter talking about he got sources and blah, 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 blah. I faced that same kind of scrutiny when I broke the story about Denard Wilson. So I went back. Y'all know me. I like to cash in those receipts. Love it. But the Russell Wilson era in New York is coming to an end. And they say that 3 is the magic number. After 3 games, after 3 losses, after 3 touchdowns, after 3 interceptions, Russell Wilson is going to be on the bench after just 1 game at MetLife Stadium. Tell me this don't remind you of Eli Manning in 2019. When the news broke, I went for a ride. Me and my girl went and ran some errands and whatnot. And I was telling her, like, we paid Russell Wilson $10 million to just come out here and give us 3 games and 1 game at MetLife. With Eli Manning, it was 2 games actually before we pivoted to Daniel Jones in week 3. The Giants are very accustomed to just blowing money and just throwing money out there. With Eli Manning, it was over $20 million. With Russell Wilson, it's about half of that number. But I think what is most important about this entire situation here is that we finally get to see Brian Daboll with his own quarterback. We've been waiting for this moment since Brian Daboll and Joe Schoen arrived at the beginning of the 2022 season. And now we get to see Brian Daboll with the quarterback of his choice. Like, we all know, there was a little bit of a discrepancy within the front office of the New York Giants that, you know, some guys probably wanted to go in a different direction, maybe even a different position, maybe with a different quarterback like a Shedeur Sanders possibly. But we all know that Jaxson Dart was Brian Daboll's guy. And Joe Schoen basically came out and said that. But this is awesome because we get to see a true evaluation of our current head coach in Brian Daboll with our future franchise quarterback. And now the true test gets to begin here. We get to see Brian Daboll in really what is going to be probably a last-ditch, last-chance type of effort from Brian Daboll to get an evaluation of what Brian Daboll can look like when he gets his own rookie quarterback in the building. We haven't seen Brian Daboll get this opportunity since Josh Allen with the Buffalo Bills. And I saw a lot of people saying that maybe Brian Daboll had nothing, like absolutely nothing to do with Josh Allen because the maturation of Josh Allen happened when Brian Daboll left. And I'm scratching my head because Brian Daboll and Josh Allen in 2020 and in 2021 had the 3rd-ranked scoring offense in the entire National Football League. And Josh Allen, had it have not been for Aaron Rodgers' stellar season in 2020, Josh Allen would have likely been the MVP winner that year. He ends up winning one a little bit later when Brian Daboll goes to New York. But that's not to say that Brian Daboll had nothing to do with Josh Allen. A lot of people are saying that Brian Daboll is lucky to be here. And I think that's just shitting on the profession and shitting on the kind of work that Brian Daboll has, you know, put forth and his resume that he has leading up to where he is right now as the head coach of the New York Giants. I understand the sentiment that Brian Daboll should be fired. I get that. The results are not there. But at the end of the day, we haven't seen Brian Daboll with his quarterback. And listen, if you're rooting for Brian Daboll, then you're rooting for Jaxson Dart to go out there and play some solid football. I want to send a shout out to Pat Leonard because Pat Leonard was the first person I heard say this. He said Jaxson Dart is more of a quarterback 1B on this roster than he is a quarterback 2 based on his usage in training camp. So there are a lot of people that saw this coming. You had people like Chase Daniels that even at the beginning of the season, literally when we first drafted Jaxson Dart, was saying he should get the start over Russell Wilson. You had some people that had some irrational takes that were saying we should cut Russell Wilson, Mark Schlereth being the main guy, but he was also advocating that Jaxson Dart should be the starter. Now, I've been pretty consistent saying that Dart is ready to play. I was okay with Russell Wilson being the starter going into the season because I felt that entering the year, the Giants had 3 quarterbacks on the roster that they could have sent out there to start in week 1. Jaxson Dart went out there, did everything right throughout the entire process, going through the draft, got to mini camp, got to training camp, was doing all the right things. And then when we saw him in preseason, he completely lit it up. In those 3 games, he was 32 of 47, 3 passing touchdowns, no interceptions, 1 rushing touchdown. The real one blemish that Jaxson Dart had in the preseason was that play where he held onto the ball a little bit too long when he broke that big run for like 20, 30 yards down the field, ended up getting caught and getting hit from, kind of his blind side, lost the ball. Thank God for that penalty because that kept his clean slate as far as the turnovers go. But I've been telling you guys, do not forget it. Jaxson Dart is ready for these type of moments. We're talking about a guy that was thrown in as a true freshman at USC. In a game where the starting quarterback ended up getting injured, banged up, couldn't come back to the game. Jaxson Dart went out there as a true freshman, came in, put up 4 touchdowns on the board in a USC victory, 42-14. We talked about it on the overreaction yesterday as well, right? We talked about the article that had came out from Reading Eagle, and one of the giant overreactions that we put on the screen was the Giants season must be about Jaxson Dart after that primetime loss to the Kansas City Chiefs. It was an article by Greg Johnson of the Reading Eagle. And he started off by saying the Giants are toast. That's why you need to go out there and throw out Jaxson Dart to be the starter. We're talking 2 teams since 1995 that have made the playoffs after an 0-3 start. No team has ever made the playoffs after losing 2 divisional games to start the season. He started that article by saying there's no point in the New York Giants trotting Russell Wilson onto the field anymore. He was signed here to win games after last season's 3-14 debacle, and that isn't happening, which is why when we put this giant overreaction on the screen, I really had no pushback for it. So many signs have been pointing to this exact moment of Jaxson Dart getting the starting job for the New York Giants. Remember way back when in the spring through the summer when I had talked to Daniel Jeremiah in that NFL conference, he literally told us that he thinks that this is a year where we'll see more of Jaxson Dart than we will see of Russell Wilson. We talked about this on Bleacher Report as well when we were going through the ESPN projections for all of the starting players for the New York Giants and some of the backups. We talked about Jaxson Dart's projection, and we really thought that Jaxson Dart was never going to meet these expectations. These were the numbers from ESPN's Mike Clay, where he projected 9 games, which it looks like he's going to play more than 9 games. He projected 1,985 yards. He's probably going to breach that as well. 10 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, 39 rushing attempts, 182 rushing yards, 2 touchdowns, and 24 sacks. When we played a little bit of game of over-under on the show, a lot of us picked under for a lot of these numbers, myself included. But it just seems like when you hear these rumors and the rumblings of a quarterback getting more time and a leash being a little bit shorter for the other quarterback that is the veteran, sometimes we got to pay attention to what some of these pundits are talking about. And when you hear some of these numbers coming out in Vegas for over-unders, we got to pay attention to some of this stuff. And while we're at it, let's just kind of go through some of the numbers real quick because I still do got the graphics up from the preseason here. Look at Jaxson Dart's numbers against the Buffalo Bills. 12 of 19, 1 touchdown, clean game, no interceptions, quarterback rating of 106. Then look at his game the following week against the Jets. 14 of 16, 137, 1 touchdown, no interception, a quarterback rating of 123.2. 1 rushing touchdown as well. Had my dog, Lil Jordan Humphrey, looking fire against the Buffalo Bills. Then you look at the New England Patriots preseason game where he went 6 of 12. Don't forget in this game, we had about 4 drops in this game. I remember it was Bo Collins, it was Jalen Hyatt, and it was a few other drops on the day. Still had a quarterback rating that was knocking on the door of 100. It was 4 drops, actually. I'm seeing that now on the statistic. Sacked just 1 time, 81 yards, clean performances from Jaxson Dart. And then you look at his last season at Ole Miss, which is, let me see, I think I got those numbers here somewhere. Hold on real quick. I don't got the Ole Miss numbers. I thought I had them Ole Miss numbers, but I don't got the Ole Miss numbers here. Maybe I got them in another graphic here. I'm going to dig through the graphics as we continue to talk about this. But Jaxson Dart is ready for this moment, y'all. Like, you could tell seeing Jaxson Dart on the sidelines that he was ready for this moment. And look at that. I got a graphic here sitting up here with Jaxson Dart's collegiate numbers here. 4,279 yards, 29 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, completion percentage of 69.3. Y'all, I'm so ecstatic about seeing Jaxson Dart go out here and get the start for the New York Giants on Sunday. It's a week early, like I said, but I'm all good with it. You want to know if you don't know what Jaxson Dart can bring to the table for this offense? You saw it in the preseason. Up-tempo, hurry-up offense from Jaxson Dart. The dual threat capabilities here to be able to create some real design runs, not that one that we saw in the red zone on that last horrific sequence that we saw from the Giants offense with Russell Wilson at the quarterback position. Some read option, some RPO, some different levels to the passing attack and different angles on the passing attack. We can be short. We can be intermediate. But not only can we be short, intermediate, and deep, we can spread the field and do that. Jaxson Dart is a guy that's not going to struggle to throw the ball across the middle. We saw that in the preseason. It's unfortunate what happened to Russell Wilson here in New York, and I think that if I had to say, is this a fair shot that he got? I'd absolutely say no, because Joe Schoen failed to put weapons around a veteran quarterback that I think anybody across the league would have told you that if Russell Wilson was going to come here in New York and truly have a chance at success, we were going to have to upgrade the weapons that we have on this offense and possibly even add some additions to the offensive line. Now, for the people that are crying about this info coming out, this breaking news coming out about Jaxson Dart, maybe we should go to Jameis Winston, or we should wait till Andrew Thomas is 100% healthy, or I don't want to see Jaxson Dart get thrown to the Wolves. I'm sorry to tell y'all this, too fucking bad, y'all. I'm looking forward to seeing my QB1 of the New York Giants future on Hard Knocks in December. You can't tell me that you would have rather seen Russell Wilson on Hard Knocks losing at that, overseeing the potential of a guy like Jaxson Dart going out there and being able to showcase some behind-the-scenes stuff as well that we can see the development of our quarterback. Sign me the fuck up. I don't never do this, y'all. But today before the stream, I poured me one up, y'all. Cheers to y'all in welcoming the Jaxson Dart era in New York. And y'all, all I can do is pray to the football gods one time that this is the guy. Because there's been a lot of guys that ain't the guy come through New York since we saw Eli Manning leave this locker room, right? We saw so many different quarterbacks, so many different bridge quarterbacks. The real only quarterback we invested in as far as a rookie quarterback goes was Daniel Jones. And shout out to Daniel Jones playing great football over there with the Indianapolis Colts. We wish him well over here on the AATB vibes, right? But this one for Jaxson Dart, y'all. Cheers to y'all. We're going to tap in with the chat. That's really all I had to say about this whole entire breaking news situation surrounding Jaxson Dart. It's a good day when we're talking about bad vibes surrounding the New York Giants, where it was a bad month. At least we got one good day, man. Cheers to y'all. I'm sipping on a little bit of Jameson today. If you got one, pour it up right now. We about to chill here one time, talk about these vibes. I told y'all that yesterday on the Giant Overreaction that I was going to try to do a Q&A vibe over here on the channel at some point during the time this week. Anyway, that's what we're going to do today. So cheers to y'all, man. Pretty smooth. I was hoping I wasn't going to make a crazy face. We're going to chase that with a little bit of water, and then we're going to tap in with the chat and see the vibes. All right. I saw a couple of super chats came in. Let's start with the super chats right off the bat. I think we got about 4 or 5 of them. And then we'll start from the top of the chat. We here. We here for until further notice. We are here. Man, that shot. Whew. Warming up the chest one time. Shout out my dog, Red Rum 22 in the building one time, man, with the $1.99 super chat. He said, let's freaking go, man. I know you excited. Sunday's going to be a great day. I don't care if Jaxson Dart go out there and go 5 for 500 and don't throw no touchdowns and throw 5 picks. I don't care. I'm just excited to be able to see my future franchise quarterback get an opportunity going up against a great team that is very well coached. It's going to be an amazing vibe on Sunday, man. I cannot wait. But shout out to my dog, Red Rum, man. We appreciate you helping us raise the bar over here. Joseph Winograd is in the building, man. We appreciate that $10 super chat one time. He said, we feeling good. Can we just revel in this moment? This moment will only be here once. There's hope. to be found in change, fam. I love it, man. Big salute to my dog, Joseph, one time, man. We appreciate you helping us raise the bar over here one time. My dog, man, beloved himself, is in the building right now. My dog, Zeke Anderson, always here supporting the channel, man. Y'all know what it is with the $5 super chat. Said, gotta bless you, bro. Would you move Winston to number 2 and move on from Russ altogether? That's interesting. I think just underneath the strength of the politics, right? If you're going to keep Russell Wilson on the roster, and I did see a couple of people talking about maybe experiment with trading Russell Wilson or even him maybe asking for a release. But if Russell Wilson's going to be on this roster, I think he should be quarterback 2 moving forward. But big shout out my dog Zeke for helping us raise the bar. We got Word in the building one time, man, with the $4.99 super chat. He said dart season, and he's got a very mischievous, devilish emoji over there representing how he feeling right now, man. Big shout out to my dog Word, man. Appreciate you helping us raise the bar. Bluegrass Picker's in the building, man. He says, thanks for the conversation. If y'all don't know, Bluegrass Picker's the one that always puts at the end of the show, Spike don't care, and I make it a point to always highlight that. It's almost, and me and Bluegrass never even talked about that. It's just he does it, and then I do it, man. Big shout out to Bluegrass Picker. This is one that Spike definitely cares about with Jaxson Dart getting the start on Sunday, man. I'm smiling ear to ear right now. It's a beautiful day for the New York Giants, and we knew this day was coming. It came a little bit faster than we all imagined, and I'm hyped and I'm happy to see it. I just want to see my quarterback go out there, get his opportunity, and if, everything goes according to what I saw on tape coming out of Ole Miss, Jaxson Dart will go out there and give the New York Giants the best chance at a victory on Sunday against the Chargers. Shout out my dog, Bluegrass Picker, man. Definitely appreciate you helping us raise the bar. Door Gunner's in the building one time, representing for them Washington Commanders as well, coming in hot with the $4.99 super chat. He said Dart should have started week 1. This reeks of desperation, though, from Daboll. It does. And listen, Daboll is on the hot seat. Things are not looking good. I really went back and overanalyzed the all-22 from an offensive perspective from the New York Giants game against the Kansas City Chiefs. And when you see the way that the offense was operating in that game, I do think a lot of it was on Brian Daboll as well, but also a good chunk of it, you got to put the blame on Russell Wilson as well. I think it is the right move for Brian Daboll right now because if things would have headed in that same direction, Door Gunner, he would have got fired anyway. So imagine Brian Daboll going out here, drafting his quarterback in April, and then getting fired before he even gets an opportunity to even see that quarterback hit the field as QB1. So it is a desperate move. And listen, the Giants are in a desperate situation, and it calls for desperate measures. So I'm looking forward to seeing it, man. But big shout out to Door Gunner, man. Always representing over here with the AATB family. Let's see what else we got here. We got another one from Kelvin Arzu in the building. I didn't want to fuck up the last name with the $1.99 super chat. He said the NFL gods move in Technicolor and surround sound. Y'all know what it is, man. Big shout out to Kelvin one time in the building, man, taking a awesome, one of my favorite quotes from one of my favorite podcasters. Rest in peace to Combat Jack, man. Salute to Kelvin for helping us raise the bar over here on AATB, man. We appreciate you, fam. Joseph dropping in with another one. Shout out my dog, Joseph Winograd, with the $2 super chat. He said the Giants just signed Young Ho Koo. We needed that, man. I mean, y'all saw the situation with Graham Gano on Sunday, and the Giants would be the only team that would, not have a viable option as a backup for the kicker position going into 2 years straight. I even heard somebody say 3 years straight. I hope that's not the case. 2 is enough. 3 would be absolutely crazy. But big shout out my dog Joseph for helping us raise the bar over here, man, on the Authentic and the Beard channel, man. Salute to y'all. We deep in the building here today, man. Appreciate y'all pulling up, rocking out with us, and sharing y'all thoughts on this conversation and whatnot. I can't wait to get to the chat and tap in with y'all and just see how everybody feeling, man. I'm going to kind of start from the top and just scroll our way down, and we'll see what everybody talking about. I see Jay Gadsby is in the building. Big shout out to my dog, Jay Gadsby, in the building, man. Appreciate you pulling up and rocking out with us, man. We know how much it means to you that Jaxson Dart is getting the start for the New York Giants, man. Maybe that can help us reel you back in over here to this fandom over here with the New York Giants. Shout out to my dog, Jay Gadsby, representing my folks over there on Bleacher Report. We'll get back to that one. I do want to start from, damn, the chat is booming today, yo. This is going to be wild. This is going to be a wild one. Y'all sit tight, like I said, pour you a drink, maybe just chill out for a little bit. We going through the chat for the entirety of this stream. I ain't going to be up here wrapping y'all up. You know what I'm saying? We can get on our half-baked vibes and, Authentic, wrap it up, B. We need to hear from the chat here one time. So we're going to start from the top here, scroll down. We'll try to catch up, try to get to the most relevant stuff, you know what I'm saying? And then we'll, try to find a way to progress this stream along and then maybe get y'all out of here. Look, no guarantees, man. The over-under, I'm going to say, is set at about 2 hours today, we'll say. So shout out to my dog, Solitary Camp. He said, yeah, baby, new era. Christian C says, let's fucking go. I know that's right, man. I'm extremely hyped. JD says, shouts out to Authentic. Yo, I'm mad hyped about Dart starting. I'm going to New York on Thursday for my birthday weekend and was going to the game on Sunday regardless, but now I'm hyped to see the rookie play. That's a great way to spend a birthday, bro. Big shout out to my dog, JD, man. Gonna enjoy that game. And, I was looking at, like, the next couple of weeks. I was telling y'all that B-Rog offered me a couple of tickets to the, or offered me a ticket to the San Francisco 49ers game to go up there and meet him. He hit me up earlier today and was like, you sure you don't want to go? I just want to get the ticket off to somebody else if not. And I was like, I don't think I'll be able to make it, man. Make sure that ticket goes to somebody that, can definitely deserve it and put it to good use. And then the news broke about Jaxson Dart. And now I'm kind of feeling like, hey, should I renege on that ticket with B-Rog? But, yo, enjoy yourself for these birthday vibes, man. That's going to be a good vibe, man. Regardless of how Dart plays, it's going to make that game that much more funner to be at. Shout out to Adrian B. He said, I was hoping to not see Dart until late in the season, but after this game, I knew it had to be this week or the next. No expectations this year. Just want to see the kid develop. And I think that's where we at with it. Shout out to the beard in the building. He said, all right, here we go. LOL. Yes, sir. That's one of them Dak Prescott's like, here we go. I know that's Monique's fantasy name too in our league and whatnot. But yeah, the vibes are here, Beard. I can't wait to get to that preview show on Thursday. Make sure y'all all pull up on Thursday. It'll be right around 1 p.m., maybe 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time when we do the Week 4 preview that's going to be featuring the first game from Jaxson Dart, man. It's going to be a vibe for sure. Simeon says that Daboll is pushing all his chips in. That's a fact. I see no witnesses in the building. He said, let's go. Jalen said, yes, sir. Red Rum in the building. I see Jameson is in the building. That shot was for you, J-Mo. Red Rum 22 said, hopefully the kid can shine. At least it gives us renewed hope for the future. I feel it will give some juice to the building. Maybe it shows up on the field. Right there with you. Say less said, start the dart. Brownie with the dart emojis. Man, it's vibes right now. I see I am Jarrell in the building. Brownie's in the building. Let's see. Jeremy said, I've been waiting for this reaction. Yeah, man, I'm hype about this, man. Anytime you switch out the quarterback for me, it's going to be a situation that's going to definitely present a little bit of hype for me because the quarterback is the position that creates that change that, if you can raise the level of quarterback play, your chances of winning games is just going to skyrocket. So we'll see. I don't know what the expectation is for Jaxson Dart. For me, it's really not that high at all. I just want to see my rookie go out there, get his feet wet, get some reps with the first team, and maybe build some chemistry with Malik Neighbors, and maybe we got something going into the future here. JDJ said, let it be known this is an exclusive live just for me. Listen, he's definitely right on that. JDJ hit me up on the DMs on Twitter. Soon as the news broke, and he was like, you going live? And I immediately said, nah. And then I answered like a couple other questions he had for me. And then I said, you know what? I might go live. And then when I set up the live, I sent him the link and I said, yo, this is for you, bro. This is definitely a stream sponsored by my dog, JDJ, in the building one time. So salute to the fan, man. Y'all know what it is. The trash man said, nothing like a dart and young ho. Brownie said the dart era begins. Jeremy said, thank God I don't got no work today. Yeah, we in here, man. We in the building. You know what it is. Shout out to Jeremy. Let me see. Wet Drip. That's a wild-ass name. Wet Drip. He said it's time. Shout out to Wet Drip in the building. Darnell D said, I was waiting for this notification. The time is now. Valentino said, new day. David says, we are so back. Shout out to Steven Arce in the building. He said, new era. Put up the biceps and the flames one time. He said, but I ain't talking about a fitted cap. That's what's up, man. I'm in a retro new era today, too, man. This is from the 90s right here. If y'all saw this new era tag, y'all be like, man, that shit is fugazi right there. Shout out to my dog, Steven Arce, though, one time in the building. Let's see. Rob is in the building. Said, Dart, baby. I see y'all, man. Everybody's excited, man. That's good to see, man. Steven R. said, I knew a stream was happening today. Yeah, I don't know, man. I saw your vibes in the last stream. You was like, man, Authentic always saying he doing a stream tomorrow. And I kind of didn't even think it was going to be a stream. So I didn't even know. But shout out to Steven R. one time. Kansan in the building. Let's see. We got them super chats. Let's try to catch up here a little bit. Everybody just saying what's good. Everybody hype, man. Mark Stewart said the content creators versus the Giants brass. I'll give a quick little commentary on that real quick. So a lot of people are like going after Bob Papa. A lot of people are defending Bob Papa, trying to go after Bobby Skinner. I think that whole thing was just like a misunderstanding, to be honest. I mean, it was a little small dig from Bobby Skinner, right? But it was nothing that should get anybody riled up. And then you got Bob Papa going on the Believe stream with Carl Banks acting like he didn't know who Bobby Skinner was, but they literally had the clipped and ready to go with Bobby Skinner talking about like, come on, dog. Like, we just got to be, look, no pun intended, but pun intended. We just got to be a little bit more authentic, okay? I thought that whole situation just kind of unraveled. And listen, if I would have read what Bob Papa said on a transcript, I would have had no problem with it. But when you hear the tone, sometimes it's not what you say, it's how you say it. And when he said, what is this guy, a content creator or some shit? I'm paraphrasing. He didn't say it like that, but he basically said, what is this, another fucking content creator? Yeah, you already knew what the vibes was. Bobby was not going to take that very well. And I understand where Bobby Skinner's coming from completely. And at the same time, I think Bob Papa kind of put Carl Banks into a pretty dicey situation there with the way he was just talking about content creators and acting like, you know, basically acting kind of on his gatekeeper vibes and whatnot just because he got access in the building. He almost kind of made it seem like, I'm not saying he said this, but he kind of made it seem like his opinion and Carl Banks' opinion is more valid than Bobby Skinner simply because Bobby Skinner don't have access or a key card to the building. That's some bullshit. Let's just keep it real and call a spade. But shout out Mark Stewart one time in the building. Tone Blue said, and we picked up Young Ho Koo. Yeah, man, ain't nothing like cool Young Ho, man. That's what's up. Love that. OKC Donald said, can't believe y'all was talking about Russ washed up ass. Got to see what Dart about just go the future. Man, that's y'all got to check these. The spell check vibes got to be on 1,000 for y'all. Y'all just like blowing my brain up with some of these typos. But I hear what you're saying. Shout out to OKC Donald. Donnell? I'm going to say it's Donnell in the building one time. My dog, no Mets, no Nets, no Jets in the building says, Giants are so corny. This shit's so predictable. That said, happy for the change. Yeah, we knew it was coming. 2 coaching staffs have approached the rookie quarterback situation with a veteran getting the start in week 1 the exact same way. We knew it was coming. I don't think we knew it was coming this early. But y'all, if y'all don't remember, I did say this. Let me take this off the screen. I got it quoted up here somewhere. Yesterday, on yesterday's stream, I said, the Giants should start Jaxson Dart no later than week 5 versus the Saints and prepare. And the key word here is no later than week 5 versus the Saints and prepare him to play the Eagles 2 times in a 3-week span. If Jaxson Dart and Daboll can beat the Philadelphia Eagles just 1 time, it will speak volumes for Daboll keeping his job. And don't forget that Daboll has lost his last 8 divisional games. So, listen, we were just talking about this yesterday. We kind of knew it was right around the corner. I thought no later than week 5, we get it in week 4. So it's a good look for the New York Giants. I'm loving it. Zeke Anderson said, beloved, I got a little bit of a bounce in my step, fresh off of a knee replacement surgery. I couldn't take another game with Russ. Let's fucking go. I'm with you on that. I see Bluegrass in here. Tone Blue says the Wolves going to be there no matter when he goes in. Ain't that facts right there? Timmy Football in the building said, fuck it. 14-0 starts today. Let's go, man. I'm trying to catch up with y'all. I'm definitely trying to catch up. Gene said playing him this week or next season won't change anything about his confidence. Either you got it or you don't. Man, my chat over here dropping bars one time. Shout out to Life Fruit. I don't think I've ever seen this name in the building. He says, I hope he plays some quick game and just takes what the defense gives him. I think we'll see a little bit of that. Primo in the building says the Dart era has arrived. Red Rum said, any chance we can trade Wilson? Does he have any value left? Yeah, I mean, if you find a team desperate enough, then, yeah, I think Russell Wilson has a little bit of trade value left. Can't forget he was a free agent, so it's probably not nothing too crazy. I think maybe you can get a 6-rounder for him or something like that, but we'll see. Gene agrees with you. He said trade Russell for some picks. Ryan Williams said, I'm happy for Jaxson Dart. He will be good. Let me see. Oh, he has that moxie in him, which we never had. There will be up and downs. There'll be ups and downs, but he will be elite in the future. I hope you're right about that, Ryan. I hope you're right about that. I'm confident in Jaxson Dart, though, man. He's one of them ones coming out in the 2025 draft. He was one of my favorite quarterbacks, so I'm hype about it, man. Let's go. I want to see this young boy get out there on the field and put pen to paper, and let's see him produce out there. It's going to be an amazing Sunday for us no matter what goes down. Let's see. This is Hodds in the building one time. He says, have y'all talked about how our offensive line is at least doing decent, especially with Thomas out there? I don't think last game was not – I guess he's saying I don't think last game was our offensive line's fault for not scoring. I agree with you. 100% agree with you. The one thing I noticed, though, on the All-22 tape is that Brian Daboll is keeping in tight ends and extra guys on that line a lot. And a lot of times you're only seeing two guys, two-man route concepts down the field, which does make things a little bit easier on the back end of defenses to cover. So I think that's why we're seeing a bit of better protection up front for the New York Giants. But we'll see, man. I think with Jaxson Dart, he's mobile. He can buy time. He's elusive. He's decisive. It should make that offensive line look even better. And I've really had no outside of the first game, I haven't had many issues with the offensive line this year. And I told people that the offensive line is better than people think it is. So I'm right there with you, Hodge. Brownie says, I just understand signing Russ in the first place. I guess I just don't understand signing Russ in the first place. $10 million could have been used elsewhere. Linebacker depth, offensive line depth, secondary depth. I said from the jump, Jameis should have been the bridge. Yeah, Jameis could have absolutely been the bridge quarterback. I was more excited to see Russell Wilson come here in the building because I thought we could, just garnish more victories, to be honest. But the Giants, with the way that the offense was set up, they weren't set up to really go out there and stretch the field and make big plays anyway. I was surprised to see what Russell Wilson did against the Dallas Cowboys in the first place. So, making this move to Jaxson Dart, it's a little earlier than I'm sure a lot of fans envisioned, but for me, no problem. And Jackson, and as far as Russell Wilson and the $10 million, I got to give Joe Schoen a few props here that he didn't sign Russell Wilson to a contract that guaranteed that Russell Wilson was going to be the starter throughout the season, a la like what the New York Jets gave to Justin Fields, who got $20 million. He made it where it was incentive-based. So that goes to tell you that Joe Schoen and Brian Daboll kind of had this envisioned from day one, that, Russell Wilson was going to be more of a security blanket in the certain circumstance that they didn't get their quarterback in the draft. They got the guy that they wanted, Brian Daboll's guy, and I think, this was the plan from the start that, we're going to try to develop our quarterback and be patient, but if we feel he's ready and our starting veteran quarterback is struggling, we'll bring in the rookie. So that's where we at with it now. Say Less says Brian Daboll definitely helped Josh Allen. I do agree with you. I mean, I don't know, man, the blasphemy that you see from some fans that just say shit like, he had nothing to do with it. Like, he was over there coaching them for what? 2018, 19, 20, and 2021. So you're talking 4 seasons, and you think he had nothing to do with it? Like, come on, man. Like, I don't know. It's just egregious in my opinion. Jay Gadsby said, act you preaching. I guess he's saying, you preaching hope to your sheep. No, I'm not preaching no hope, man. Look, I'm the motherfucker that said that the Giants are going to win 5 to 6 games no matter what goes down. I hate it when people, confuse hope with hype, right? Like, I'm hyped to see my young quarterback go out there. I'm not hopeful that the New York Giants, what could we possibly think about this, Jay Gatsby, that the Giants are going to go out here and win, 10 games now? Like, come on, man. Like, let's be real here. Gene said, oh, shit, we signed a kicker. Yeah, we did. We definitely got a kicker as well. Genesis said that Banks needs to be traded as well. I don't know about that, man. Maybe I'm a little bit Maryland biased, but I'd like to keep Deonte Banks on this roster, even if it's just as a depth piece. Ryan says, and it's somewhat weird for him to play his first game against the Chargers, the team that Eli did not want to go to. It's a long time ago. We're talking 2004. Damn, that was a long time ago, bro. It's 20 years plus, man. That was a really, really long time ago. Say Less said, don't buy any jerseys till the team starts winning. Good advice. Yeah, I might go against it, man. That 6, that 1, them joints kind of calling me one time. Jay Gatsby said, and with the first overall pick in the NFL draft the next year, Giants select Icebox. I'm with it, man. Look, if the Giants get the first pick next year, I'm not going to be sitting up here like, oh, man, we got the first pick. I ain't going to care. And if we want to draft, generational talent at the linebacker position like Icebox, let's fucking go, man. Let's get it. Red Rum 22 said, now that we are in reset mode, should we make a move to get that number 3 pick back? Maybe Tibbs. Thoughts? I'm trying to think what you mean by get the number 3 pick back. Definitely don't want to move no Kayvon Thibodeau. Kayvon Thibodeau has been playing some excellent football, so I'll respond to that portion of it. Don't want to trade Kayvon. Absolutely not. Trying to make it now says, we need Turbo Miller to be called up while Tracy recovers. How do you feel about signing Young Ho Koo? Signing of Young Ho Koo is great. Been missing some kicks and whatnot, but, I mean, he's better than what we got. It's better than, wheeling an injured Graham Gano into a game against the Chargers. So, hype about Young Ho Koo. And I like your thoughts about elevating Turbo Miller. I'm cool with that, too. I mean, it looks like Tyrone Tracy's going to be out for about 2 to 4 weeks, I think they said. So, yeah, We're going to need another running back. And Turbo Miller got some juice, man. We have not been running the screen game like we saw in the preseason. And I know, we see a lot more vanilla defenses and whatnot, but the Giants have just neglected the screen the first 3 weeks of the season. So I'm all for it. Let's see. Darnell D said Chase Daniels did call it, said Dart would be starting within the first 4 games of the season. Yep. And that was before Speak had got canceled from FS1. And I remember him saying that on the panel, and he did all this research. He was talking about how the average week that a quarterback would come in that is drafted in the first round is week 3. And look, 1 week after that, we're going to get Jaxson Dart going up against the Los Angeles Chargers. It's awesome. OKC says, finally, Dave's going to show why he got the job. Yo, I love this right here, bro. I love this right here because too many people in our fan base right now have negative vibes surrounding Brian Daboll. And listen, I'm going to root for Brian Daboll until he is fired or when it happens, if it don't happen, whatever, right? But I love this right here. A little bit of optimism for the coach because this is what I've been telling my shorty a lot lately, right? Like, you got all these people that complain about how bad of a scheme, Brian Daboll has. And I'll never come up here and tell y'all that I'm supposed to be some fucking offensive coordinator or some shit like that. Like, I know a little football, but I'm not going to tell you like, hey, I know more football than all these motherfuckers out here. I'll never say that. But all these people talk about the scheme and they talk about the route concepts and all this shit, right? But they don't even know the route concepts. They don't even know the scheme, right? So how can you criticize something you don't know? That's basically like getting a meal and criticizing the ingredients after you eat it, and you ain't never cooked a meal in your life, and you don't even know what goes into cooking the meal. To me, that's just unfair to the coaching staff. So listen, I know we're not getting the results, but I like this vibe right here from OKC, giving Daboll a little bit of support. Let's see what he can do with his own quarterback. And then if he falls flat again and we get to the end of the season and you want to call for his job, hey, that's up to you. Chaz G said, I'm here for it. Brings us a step closer to getting rid of Daboll. These are polar opposite conversations here. So my question for Chaz G would be exactly what I just broke down. Like, what tells you that Brian Daboll is a poor coach, right? Because in my opinion, the personnel on the offensive side of the ball is not good enough. That's just how I view it. Like, I look at Malik Neighbors as the one guy you got to scheme up when you're a defensive coordinator going against the New York Giants. Is that going to change with Jaxson Dart in the lineup? Likely not. But at least we'll get to see this offense operate the way that it should. When we saw Brian Daboll have success with the Buffalo Bills during his time there, he did that with a dual-threat quarterback. He hasn't really had the true dual-threat quarterback that he wants on his roster. He showed you that he could win games with Daniel Jones. He showed you that he could win 3 straight games with Tommy DeVito, and he won 6 games where that roster in 2023 really shouldn't even have won 6 games. But I ain't going to sit up here and cap and wear a cape for Brian Daboll. That's not my job to do that. I'm not a New York Giants mascot, right? But at the end of the day, when people say they want him fired, I just want to know, like, is it anything outside of the results? When Pat Shermer got fired, 4 years later, a lot of people were saying, oh, maybe we jumped the gun on that. Brian Daboll's been here for 3 seasons, going into 4 now. We'll see. I don't think Brian Daboll is an incompetent coach. And I think that's actually what stemmed we'll call it a beef between the Believe dudes and between Bobby Skinner. But we'll see, man. I'm here for it. I want to see Brian Daboll be able to develop his quarterback and get us off into the right direction. I truly don't want to go through that whole head coach, coaching staff search again. I don't want to go through it. I ain't going to lie. But if we got to go through it, we got to go through it. We'll see what it is. Say less said Brian Daboll has to replay that fumble with Dart. At the time, I said that was a non-issue. I still don't think it's a non-issue, man. Sometimes when you're making plays, shit going to happen. I want to see Jaxson Dart go out there and utilize his skill set to his best capabilities. Be wary of what's going on. But I always said that sliding is not going to be an issue. And listen, I hope I'm right on that. Genesis said not Tibbs, Banks. Oh, he's saying can get us a 3rd. My Maryland bias kicking in, bro. I don't want to trade Deontay Banks just yet. I'd said I think the things in preseason definitely accelerated his time to be QB1. I definitely agree with you on that. Let's see. I'm still trying to catch up and just kind of trying to get the statements and the questions here. William JF77 said people comparing Dart and Jones are wrong. Jones didn't have half the confidence Dart has as a rookie, or the skill set, or the agility, or the lateral movement, or the pocket presence, or the pocket manipulation, or the arm talent, or the ability to be able to throw the ball into tight windows. None of that. Jay Gatsby said 3-14 is around the corner again. Dart wasn't good against the SEC, but you guys really think he will be tween in the NFL? I guess he's just saying like he wasn't good in the SEC, but you guys really think he will be good in the NFL. Jay Gatsby, I get it, bro. You were pro Shedeur Sanders. The NFL was against that, right? I was against that. And all them Bleacher Report streams that we went through, I told your ass, bro, Jaxson Dart is quarterback 2. And when the NFL went through the 2025 NFL draft, they showed you that not only was Shedeur Sanders not quarterback 3, he was quarterback 5th round. I don't know what to tell you, bro. I know you bitter. I get it. You know, I know it's emotions kicking in. If the Giants go 3-14, it's not going to bother me one bit. I didn't expect the Giants to be some powerhouse team this year because they didn't make the necessary moves on the offensive side of the ball in the offseason. But I also don't fault Joe Schoen that much for that because Rome was not built in one offseason, right? Like, you got to be able to build this offense up and get more weapons out there for your quarterback. But I know, I get it, Jay. I get it. You pro Shedeur Sanders. You wanted us to draft Shedeur Sanders. We didn't draft him. It is what it is, bro. You're going to have to deal with it. And it's kind of crazy, Jay Gatsby. You ain't been here for 3 fucking weeks, man. Where you been at, dog? You ain't been here for 3 weeks. Jaxson Dart gets named the starter. You pop up on the AATB chat. What's going on here? What's going on? Now, if Jaxson Dart go out here and start lighting shit up, you know what I'm going to expect, Jay Gatsby. I'm going to expect that you're not going to be around. But we shall see. I had Jaxson Dart up there. You ain't have him up there. You want to talk about the bad games? What about Shedeur Sanders? What was his record against teams that were ranked? How did he fare against the upper echelon competition on the collegiate level? Come on, man. Let's be rational and realistic here. And let's use our critical thinking here. Because if we're going to shit on Jaxson Dart, then let's shit on your guy too, right? Let's do that, right? But I know what it is, Gatsby. I get it, bro. I get it. You know it's love, bro. You know it's love, man. Look. You know it's love, bro. Greg Turdhaller's in the building. He said, yes, let's blame Russ for the last 13 years of failures. I feel you, bro. We can't, like I said, man, I think Russ got an unfair shake here in this situation. But as bad as the New York Giants are, I'm okay with, you know, the direction that they're moving in, bringing in Jaxson Dart. And damn, yo, my mouse is kind of dying here, and that's not a good look. Definitely should have charged this joint up here. Let me see if I can get enough just for the rest of this stream because I got to be scrolling through this chat. That's definitely not going to be a good vibe. I'm going to have to find a way to change out this battery here one time. So, look, it's not – I got to get some battery. Y'all got to hang tight for 1 second. Give me like literally like 40 seconds. Hold on, y'all. All right. About to use a V-mount battery for my camera rig real quick to try to charge this mouse up one time. Make sure I got battery on the battery. God damn. All right. That motherfucker dead. Hang with me, y'all. Hang with me, y'all. All right. We doing the most right now, ain't we? All right. Hopefully that give me the juice I need, because without the mouse, I can't scroll the chat, and that ain't the vibes. We got a bunch more chats to get through. Jay Gatsby says, delusional ass fans. I don't know who he talking to. I don't understand where we got delusion, Jay. I think you just bitter, bro. Like, you like a bitter ex, bro. Like, you really are a bitter ex. But I love Jay Gatsby. That's my dog. He know ball. But hey, if the chat start giving you some pushback, I'm not getting in between this one. We're gonna let y'all just brawl it out one time, man. Y'all know what it is. Shout out Gatsby though in the building, man. Let's see. Shout out my dog, man. Dante in the building, man. Appreciate you chiming in on that thread that I posted the other day too, man, where we had some question marks about Daboll's play calling and whatnot, and if it was execution or if it was the scheme and if it was coaching and whatnot. But shout out to my dog Dante. I always tell y'all, man, go subscribe to him. One of the East Coast Gridiron got the college stuff on lock, man. They know all they shit over there. Definitely go check him out. The Juke is in the building. Y'all go check out the Juke too, man. Another dope Giants content creator, man. We chopped it up at the beginning of the season. Appreciate you pulling up, rocking out with us too, fam. Deuce is in the building, says, having watched Dart since his USC days, I am confident of one thing. He won't be scared. Love that. Love that. Bluegrass said, Jay Gatsby, I bet you're the life of the party. And then called you Bub. I'm about to take that. You know, when you call somebody Bud on Twitter, I left a little bit of this. When you call somebody Bud on Twitter, they really don't like that. I'm gonna switch it up to Bub. I like that, Bluegrass. That's what's up. Greg said this is about Daboll saving his ass, not about the development of Jaxson. Maybe. Could be. I won't give you too much pushback on that. Shout out Derek Grant. He said change is good whenever it comes. Let's go for it, Giants, is what I think he's trying to say there. Oscar Unrated says, I wonder what they saw in training to never start Jameis. I mean, I think it was just a process, man. Like, they brought in Jameis. They thought that, Russell Wilson would be a bit of an upgrade. So at that point, they just move Russell Wilson as the upgrade. But I also think that Brian Daboll knew that clock was ticking a little bit, on his tenure with the New York Giants as the head coach. So you label Jackson Dart as QB2. It doesn't look as strange when you know that you're going to go to Jackson Dart if things don't go right with Russell Wilson. So it's a little puzzling, the whole Jameis Winston thing. And I do think he's a very capable quarterback in this league that, like I said, could have started week 1 as well. But, yeah, man, the politics of the business can be, a little bit just blunt at times. And it can present a couple of issues, but it is what it is at this point. Dorgunner says this should have been done week 1. Greg says, ask Cleveland. Let me see. He said, ask Cleveland about a quarterback having a lights-out preseason and what happened to Dorian Thompson. Yeah, Dorian Thompson-Robinson definitely looked good in the preseason. I thought processing was an issue for DTR a little bit. But I thought he was still a bit of a capable quarterback. They pulled the plug on him pretty quickly, too, after about 2 starts, I think it was, where he struggled. But, yeah, man, every situation is different, bro. Every situation is different. Look, I mean, it's a good time to bring up Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones lit the fucking preseason up, and then when he got out there for his first start, I mean, you saw what it was against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It was an amazing performance. So teams ended up getting tape on him and figured out, his weaknesses, and they played against that. So is what it is. I look at every situation differently, man. You never know what can happen for a starting quarterback when they go out there. You never know who's going to be ready, because a lot of this is just all feel for the game, and I do think Jackson Dart has a great feel for the game. Hector's in the building. He says they need to implement Dart the same way the Commanders did with Daniels. Keep him in the gun formation and do quick passes, screens, and RPOs to slow down the opposing defense's rush and not rely on the offensive line. I like that plan of attack. That's pretty good. Let's see. New York Giants fan 48, my dog Rob's in the building. He said, listen, he's going to have his rookie struggles and mistakes, but he's going to learn. We'll correct it. I'm with you on that, man. It's all about it. You got to go out there and learn, man. Like, listen, you hear all these NFL quarterbacks talking about these rookies like the best way to learn is on the field. It's not saying that the only way to learn is on the field, but Jackson Dart, I think he's ready to go. He's ready to be a quarterback that can be on the field with the first team and be able to give his chance an opportunity to win games. We'll see if that's the case when he gets out there. If he goes out there and he looks like dog shit, then, it is what it is. That's going to be part of the development as well. Bookend Tackle says, I don't get the Winston take. He's not the future. Time to get Dart ready for the future. Yeah, I'm with you on that. David says, I'm drinking my green tea. Cheers, brothers. Yeah, salute. Let's see who else we got here in the building. I will catch up. I'm trying to kind of fly through it. We'll catch up here in a little bit. Derek Grant says, you're right, Authentic. Russ was supposed to be that bridge, but the way to the bridge collapsed, so now we have to find a new path. I'm with that, too. I'm absolutely with that. Gatsby said, I am, sir. Dart is trash, bro, and you will see, and you will be singing the blues and bluegrass, LOL. I like your little bars you tried to deliver there, Jay Gatsby. I'm going to give you a good 4 out of 10 on the bars right there. But I can't sit up here and call Jackson Dart trash. All I can do is evaluate the prospect, right? And when I evaluated the prospect, looked at all his games, all 22, coach's film, I thought that this was a very capable quarterback. And he won a lot of games, struggled against some upper echelon competition, obviously. But Jackson Dart, I think he's got that it factor, man. And, it reminds me very much of Jalen Hurts. A lot of people were saying the same shit you saying right here, Jay Gatsby, about Jalen Hurts. And, 2 Super Bowl appearances later, people kind of got to just, shut the fuck up at this point. Stephen R. said, let it all work out. Lou Mateo said, a man's plan is not God's plan. Let's get it darting. I like that right there. William said, Dart has a confidence about him that makes me think he can succeed as a rookie. Yeah, me too, man. Me too, bro. I'm digging these vibes right here, dog. I'm digging these vibes right here. Christian C said, cheers, my brother. You know what it is? Old boy G said, typical racist Giants. Geno, 1 start, gone. Wilson, 3 starts, gone. Black backup, leapfrog. Dart is a reach. Preseason means nothing. Just gave the front office an excuse to return next year. I don't be getting the Giants are racist shit. I don't get it. I mean, I don't know, man. You know, hey, everybody got their own thoughts on things. I don't know, man. I just like, if the Giants were racist, why would you bring in 2 black quarterbacks? To then make a point, right? To just be like, you know, we're gonna get a black quarterback 3 games because fuck all y'all. Like, come on, man. I don't know, bro. Hey, everybody, to each his own as far as the thinking goes, man. Y'all know me. I'm never up here to change opinions. I'm only up here to state my opinion and support my opinion. But, like, I don't understand. The Giants, they're just going to waste a draft pick on a quarterback, whether it be day 3 or not. They're just going to draft a black quarterback just to draft him, right? Like, I ain't getting that. Oh, let me give you one more before we move on, old boy. So, the greatest quarterback in New York Giants history, and Eli Manning, right? We're going to end his legacy by allowing a black quarterback to start over him with the longest active streak for any quarterback that's ever played this game. We're going to end that with a black quarterback, but we racist. I don't know if that math is quite mathing, old boy. I don't know. We'll see. Bluegrass said, thanks for pulling up a seat. If you enjoy the conversation, subscribe. Y'all know me. I never push y'all to subscribe. Do your thing. If you like the vibes, you like the vibes. Today's kind of like not the typical vibes. We're kind of on one today, but it is what it is, man. It's a celebration today. Shout out Dave Chappelle. Andrew Adams says, Dart's going to be a dog, but if he gets this team rolling, we still need new coaches. We cannot fall into the DJ and Dave trap. I mean, I don't know. This is Dave's guy. If Jaxson Dart goes out there and he shows a lot of success and, more importantly, gets victories, that coaching conversation needs to be revisited. And once we get there, we'll tackle that conversation for sure. I understand the skepticism, though, for sure. Let's see. Jay Fed said Daboll trying to save his job. Wouldn't you? Wouldn't you? Timmy said, my eyes watering off that shot, boy. Let me give you the goods here real quick, Timmy Football. When we do, Timmy Foosball. When we do get a chance to possibly link up for a function one time, when you get over here to the States, right, and we get to sit down for a game, possibly chop it up, I will show you that my tall, lanky ass will drink anybody under the table. I will show you that live and in the flesh. None of my dogs can drink with me. The only dog I know that could truly drink with me of all my homies is my homie Fats, and he's a big left tackle built kind of motherfucker. You know, I'm talking like 6'3", 6'2", 350 plus. He probably the only one that could drink with me. I know y'all be, you know, at the pubs over there, you know, across the pond and whatnot, but when we link, you shall see. But that shot might have my eyes. Hold up. maybe a little bit. Maybe a little bit, dog. Maybe a little bit. Shout out to Dorothy Slippers in the building. Dorothy said, do we think Dart will make up for the fact that our brilliant coach lost 3 games in 3 seasons? Lost 3 games in 3 seasons because he didn't have a kicker. Now, this is where I'm going to support Brian Daboll a little bit. We weren't going to win the Washington game with the kicker either, because if you take away some of the touchdown opportunities that we had on 4th down and you take away the going for the 2-point conversions, if we would have just kicked it in all those situations, the Giants would have lost by 1. So I'll remove that one game. I was at that game. I remember that game very well. Now, do we beat the Chiefs with a kicker? I don't know. I don't think we beat the Chiefs with a kicker. I don't know. But we'll see. We'll see. I ain't mad at you for faulting Daboll a little bit here, but I want to conclude the evaluation on Brian Daboll by seeing him with his own rookie quarterback here in New York. I think that's a good vibe. Let me see what this one from No Mets. The chat don't play, dog. The chat don't play. The chat don't be playing. I'm glad you said it. I had to say it, but I'm glad you said it. 59 Ways to Groove is in the building. He said, brother, had to hear this gospel. Rewinding to the beginning. Make sure you play it in 2 times. So by the time you catch up, maybe we still hear live. But shout out to my dog one time in the building. And I think we got a couple of more super chats here, man. Let me not neglect the super chats because got to prioritize y'all here. Okay, so let's see. Damn, my bad, y'all. We got a rack of super chats. And I missed the super chat last show. Somebody pointed that out to me. Pal 11 did a super chat. My bad, pal. You already know. It's all love. Let's see where we were at here. Okay, I missed the Lou Mateo joint. Yeah, so we're right here. Big shout out to Lou Mateo one time in the building. He said, man's plan is not God's plan. Let's get darting. I'm glad I brought attention to that already, even though I missed the super chat. Salute to Lou Mateo for helping us raise the bar today. Charlie Hefter says, I'm pretty broke, but want to support. Appreciate you all. Yo, this the super chat of the day right here, dog. This is the super chat of the day, bro. Being broke and supporting your boy Authentic, man, that goes a long way. Big shout out to my dog, Charlie Hefter, man. Yo, triple salute to my dog right there. Shout out to No Witnesses 85 in the building with the $10 super chat. He said, I hope we can slide Illuminor to right guard to shore up the interior and place Marcus Bowe at right tackle. I think it might buy Dart an extra half a second to slide right when JMS inevitably whiffs on a block. Thoughts? I don't know if Marcus Bowe is ready to be in the starting lineup. Last week, definitely struggled a little bit out there. You know, went back, looked at some of the PFF grades, looked at all the passing plays, got a chance to look at the offensive line. I like Jermaine Illuminor at right tackle. He hasn't played right guard since, let me see, he did about 3 years with the Raiders. Since 2020, Jermaine Illuminor has not played guard. And not to say that he couldn't do it. He's a very versatile lineman. I like Illuminor at right tackle, but you're right about the interior portion of the line, which would mean removing Greg Van Roten, keeping JMS at center. I think Dart's going to be okay, man. You know, one thing that I've been noticing about some of these extra mobile quarterbacks is that even when they are pressured, they're still comfortable. Like you look at Lamar Jackson last night against the Detroit Lions, and my God, that game looked like a Super Bowl game. The speed of that game looked like the Super Bowl, right? We don't play at that speed. I don't know if y'all notice on Sundays, we don't look like what you saw on Monday Night Football with the Ravens and the Lions. But Lamar still always looks like he's seeing things and being able to move, even though he had a couple of sacks where he I think he got sacked 7 times yesterday, which was the most in Baltimore Ravens history. But like some of those were like shoestring tackles. And even in those situations, he's still kind of seeing it all developing in front of him. We're seeing that with Jaden Daniels. We see that with Jalen Hurts. I think we're going to see a bit of that with Jaxson Dart. So once we get to Sunday against the Chargers, I think I'll be able to revisit this conversation. Maybe we use something like this for the Giant Overreaction on Monday when we get here. But definitely appreciate you helping us raise the bar, dog. It's a really, really good question, to be honest. And I gave you some thoughts on it, but not a really definitive answer. Give me one more week. I'm taking the push on this one, No Witnesses. Shout out to No Witnesses, though, for helping us raise the bar. Charlie Hefter with another $4.99 super chat here one time. He says, especially because these are like therapy sessions for me and help ease the pain, man. Big salute to my dog, Charlie, man, rocking out with us today, man. You know, just funding the channel when he don't even got the funds. You know, what do they call that? Taking from Peter to pay Paul. Taking from Peter to pay Authentic, man. Salute to my dog one time, helping us raise the bar over here. Let me see. JP, the Monkey King, says that fast-paced offense is going to hit different from Dart. Love the content, broski, man. Big salute to my dog. We appreciate you with the $4.99 super chat, helping us raise the bar, man. I feel like I haven't seen this name really in the chat. Appreciate you popping up and, you know, letting us know the deal here one time, man. We appreciate you, dog. John is in the building with the $5 super chat one time. He says, Dart plus Scats energy should bring up Leak's mood. Great point right there. Leak was looking dejected at the end of that game on Sunday. And he says he looked like he was having a therapy session with OBJ, and I hope my fellow Korean Koo does well. I hope so too, bro. I mean, for me, not a lot of pressure on Young Ho Koo. You know, I just think like we needed a kicker. He's a good option. Just got cut by the Atlanta Falcons. I think he's probably the best option on the market. If it was fantasy football, that's the kicker I would have picked up as well. So big salute, man, to my dog one time, John, representing over there for them Koreans, man. I got a couple of Korean homies as well, man. The reason why I got off into music is actually from one of my Korean homies, man. Shout out to my dog, Tom Lim. If you ever in the D.C. area, make sure you check out Sister Skate Shop down there on U Street. They got some fire gear, and tell them Authentic sent you. B-Rog sending in another $5 super chat one time. We appreciate you, dog. He said he's ready, so let's go. He also sent in another $5 super chat. He said, I love Turbo. I hope Tyrone Chasey Jr. is okay. I was really disappointed when he was cut, so bring him back up. Oh, he's talking about Turbo being cut. Absolutely, absolutely, man. I think Turbo's going to get a nice little shot here with Tyrone Chasey on the bench one time. Shout out to Hot Nichols one time with the $4.99 super chat. He said, is this a desperate move by the coach, or did Mara tell Dabes to get his chance in with Dart before he gets fired, or is it something else? I think it's a combination of all those things, right? It's like, I don't think Mara would fire Brian Daboll before getting a chance to see him with his quarterback that it was his guy, right? So I think that's part of it. I think that Brian Daboll absolutely wanted to move on from Russell Wilson at some point during the season to try to salvage his job as well. But I'm going to stay consistent and remain consistent. I do think that, Daboll will be here at the beginning of 2026, barring the New York Giants losing like every game this year, but we shall see, man. Salute to my dogs for helping me raise the bar, man. The Hot Nichols. I'm wondering if that's a play on Method Man. That'll make that name even that much more doper. Shout out my dog, Peter Randazzo, in the building one time, man. Heard you guys chopping it up on Twitter a little bit earlier. I popped in a few times. Peter says, smart move putting him in now. He'll have 2 starts under his belt before Philly on a short week. That's very true, man. I'm looking forward to it. I want to see the quarterback thrown to the Wolves. This is the best test to find out what you got at the quarterback position. Shout out to East Coast Gridiron, man. My dog Dante in the building, man, helping us raise the bar over here on Authentic in the Beard, sending in that $10 super chat. He said, I'm just here so I don't get fined. He said, East Coast Gridiron and Authentic collab soon. DMV's finest. Absolutely, bro. We're gonna make that happen here in the next. We're gonna put a time on this too. A time. We're gonna put a window on it. We'll say in the next 2 weeks maximum, bro. We'll get you to pull up. We'll talk some ball for sure, man. Shout out to my dog Dante over there with East Coast Gridiron, helping us raise the bar over here on Authentic and the Beard, man. All right, let's catch back up here. Dog, we so behind on the chat. I'm gonna just kind of scroll through here a little bit. Everybody's hype, man. Everybody's hype. Look. 59 Ways to Groove said, biggest news of the day, we signed a kicker. I hear you, man. TCCAA said, darty party. Yeah, it's definitely a dart party here one time. The undisputed heavyweight champion. And I got to do this for my dog. Of the world is in the building. He said, woo, gave you a Ric Flair woo. He said, Dart starting with the Chargers equals 6 sacks, 3 interceptions, and a 40-3 blowout. Then finally, Daboll gets fired. Woo. Now I'm mad I gave you the whole introduction, dog. What is you doing? What is you doing, bro? Why you bringing the negative vibes over here, bro? We need the positive vibes. 3 interceptions. All right, this is what I like to say to people that do shit like this. Put your money where your mouth is. You know my email. Send me an email. We can make a bet on that. I'll even take it down to 2 interceptions. We could go 1.5. I'll still take the under. All right? Jaxson Dart about to go out here and ball out, man. Don't you put that on us. Yo, this is crazy. I don't even think any other content creator will highlight this one right here. He said, my old bitch tripping, but my young hoe cool. That's crazy. Timmy Foosball, yo. That's wild right there. Stephen R. said he's 31 years old also. If he doesn't have a fall off, he can be the kicker for years. Yeah, that's true. That's definitely true right there. All right, let's keep scrolling. Let me see what else we got. Stephen R. said Dart still has enough games to win Rookie of the Year. I like that, man. I might have to open up my FanDuel app one time. Timmy, you put that joint again, man. You really wanted me to see this, didn't you, bro? Boss Les says, I'm happy to see my boy Dart play, but I'm skeptical on Daboll. Reasonably. Definitely. The Illa's in the building. Just beat me in fantasy football in the Authentic in the Beard League yesterday. I saw you in the chat talking about you forgot to start the tight end for the Tennessee Titans. I can't remember who it is, but I forgot to start my tight end with Dallas Goedert. And, man, I left a bunch of points on the bench. I had, like, Luther Burden on the bench. The Illa got the dub. Sent me the 0-3, man, in that league. That's my worst fantasy league right now, man. 16-man team or 16-man league. Very, very difficult. Jay Gatsby said, never. I'm only here so I don't get fined. I know you only here to throw that shade, bro, because you heard that Jaxson Dart got the start. You saw the notification, Authentic going live. You like, I'm about to pull up here and throw some shade over there on Authentic and his AATB party about Jaxson Dart. I get it, bro. I get it, man. I wish you well, man. Jay Gatsby, I wish you well. You need some love, man. You need some love, brother. I feel you. C. Rob's in the building says Dart to start was inevitable. The fans and the team looked hopeless on Sunday night. That's facts. TCCAA said, you got to go now. I know who you're talking to. David Hernandez said, I think I'm even more excited about signing Koo. I like that too, man. It's a vibe, but I don't know. Jaxson Dart, definitely. Jay Gatsby said, I'm good to enjoy watching Dart stank it up. Man, I just can't wait. Like, if Jaxson Dart lights it up, you're going to get an email from me, bro. I'm gonna find you, Jay Gatsby. I'm going to definitely find you. Mr. Copate says, I've been yelling at my TV for far too long. My TV is fed up. My TV loves seeing Dart get the start. Absolutely. David said, I'm going to buy a ticket for Giants at Bears November 9th. That'd be a good one to be at. Definitely a attainable victory for the Giants in that game, too. The back half of the schedule definitely lightens up a little bit. Shout out my dog K. He said, I still think Dart should have started week 1. There's a reason Russ and Winston have been team hopping. That's true, too. Dorothy says, Daboll looks like one of the worst coaches in the league. I never thought it could get lower than Joe Judge. I don't know if Daboll looks worse than Joe Judge. Joe Judge hit us with the 2 quarterback sneaks, man, on the goal line. And I don't know. Daboll's red zone sequence there with Russell Wilson the other day was pretty pathetic, but I don't know. I don't know about worse than Joe Judge. Joe Judge lost his shit on the podium too, but we'll see, man. I'm looking forward to seeing Jaxson Dart out there with Brian Daboll. I know a lot of y'all skeptical. I get it. Reasonably. There's reasonable doubt. Shout out to Jay. This is DeBeno's World. He said, what if Jaxson Dart is Daniel Jones 2.0? Where Daboll goes next? Because we still have that offensive line and Shane Bowen on defense. I'm not too worried if Jaxson Dart is Daniel Jones 2.0. Like, Daniel Jones is an average quarterback, and sometimes that happens with first-round selections, right? So that could possibly happen. If Jaxson Dart is as bad as Daniel Jones was in blue, Daboll, it's not going to concern me where Daboll goes next. And the offensive line was not built for the future of our franchise. That offensive line was built for Daniel Jones. Think about the veterans that they brought in, and Jermaine Illuminor, who's 31 years old, John Runyon Jr., who was getting his first, contract after his rookie contract came to a conclusion. Greg Van Roten, old head. Aaron Stinney, old head. These guys weren't brought in for the future franchise quarterback. They were brought in for Daniel Jones. So Joe Shane's got to go out there and address the draft and be able to get more offensive linemen, and build upon, the last draft where he got Marcus Bowe, who seems to be a pretty decent offensive lineman thus far. 59 Ways of Groove said, oh, that Dart pack about to hit different. Yeah, bro. It starts today. The 420 vibes with the Dart pack is starting today. I cannot wait to see this guy on Sunday. It's going to be amazing. Shout out to Welvin in the building. He says, low-key feel bad for Russ getting benched this early, but that last sequence really demoralized me as a fan. I'm with you. It sucks for Russell Wilson, man. I was rooting for him, I've tagged him in a bunch of posts like, dog, I'm rooting for you, man. Go out there, do your thing. Go out here, try to win some games. That's why you was brought in, but the results weren't there. Tim Lynn says, let's go. Bluegrass Picker said 227 in the building. Thanks for pulling up a seat. Yes, sir. Mike Sullivan says, how do you feel about signing Koo? Kind of went over that. Good signing. We needed a kicker, man. And if I'm the fantasy football general manager, that's who I would have signed for sure. Brian Turner says, we have nothing to lose. They made the right call with Dart. Agree with you, bro, 100%. Greg said, this is not about our future. This is all about the now. That's not true. That's not true. He said, Mara needs to boost fan morale after the last 3 games, and Daboll is looking to save his ass. Nothing to do with Dart's development. If that's the case, then why is it that on average, every first-round quarterback in the history of the league has started by week 3? Why is that? It's an anomaly when you get a Jordan Love situation. It's an anomaly when you even get a Patrick Mahomes situation where you sit for a year. If your team is winning, normally you're not going to draft a quarterback in the first round. Most quarterbacks, especially since the CBA deal was done in 2011, have been guys that get to play in their first year. I should have brought this up today too. We have a stream that we did a couple of months back where I talked about every quarterback that didn't start their rookie season. There's not many of them. It was like Steve Parkowitz. It was like Jim Kelly. It might have been a good 10 quarterbacks in the history of the game that did not play a single game in their rookie season that was drafted in the first round. Timmy Foosball says the roller coaster of being a New York Giants fan. Yesterday, we were all ready to jump off a cliff. Today, we could all feel like we could fly. It's a strange relationship. Yeah, man. You got to the small victories, man. For us, because we don't get a lot of them. Like I said, what is Brian Daboll 3-17 in his last 20? Shout out my dog Juice Jones in the building. He said, "Finally, dart season." I'm right there with you, dog. I'm right there with you, man. Let's see what else we got here. Greg says this version of the Giants organization doesn't plan for the future. It just plays as you go at this point. I guess that's what he's trying to say there. Yeah, you can't disagree with you there. They haven't been a very proactive organization, especially during, the Joe Shane era. Can't argue that. But I don't know, man. To save their jobs, they would have probably, played Russell Wilson a little bit more to make the lifeline longer. I've described this on the last 3 Giant Overreactions, where if you really wanted to make the sample size of the evaluation of Jaxson Dart smaller so that you could have that option to go into next season, then you would have played Russell Wilson more. So for the people that are saying that this is just to save his job, I don't know. I could argue against that if he wanted to save his job, he would have wheeled out Russell Wilson against the Chargers for maybe even another game after that to make that sample size of seeing him with Jaxson Dart a little bit smaller. Because if Brian Daboll goes out here in 14 games with Jaxson Dart and shits the bed, they're going to consider firing him absolutely at the end of the season. So we'll see, man. We'll see. Deuce says that Koo will get booed. I mean, if he misses kicks, y'all know how it is at MetLife for sure. Muhammad Ali said that Chargers defense, though, that defense is really good. Ian says, interested to see how Dart does against Jesse Minter. Minter is one of the best defensive coordinators in the game. A lot of disguises, simulated pressures, etc. Excited to see this dude go out and have some fun. Go blue. Absolutely, bro. It's going to be a great test, man. I don't want to see my rookie quarterback go out there and play the worst team in the NFL, in the Saints as his first start. I want to see him go out there and go against some true wolves, some true dogs, and see how he fares going out there with, the lackluster weapons that he has around him, and seeing if he can go out there and have some success. We saw it in the preseason that the game plans that were catered to Jaxson Dart were very different than the game plans that were catered to Russell Wilson. Hopefully that gives us a spark that we need to go out here and salvage this season and at least make it watchable. That's all I want out of it, for real. No Met says no, leave Jermaine Illuminor at right tackle. I do agree with you on that. Brian Howard said, all jokes aside, I feel for Dart, but he can truly change the narrative. Why do you feel for Dart? I'm curious as to why you might feel for Dart. I'll try to keep an eye out on the chat for your response on that. Old Boy G said, thought Mara said he wanted to win. Joke organization nowadays. I got no pushback, to that. They were a joke organization before they announced Jaxson Dart as the starter today. I'll tell you that much. Oscar Unrated says, if he plays terrible, will people want Russ James to go back in? If they do, it's idiotic. Look, you moved on to the rookie. Stay with the rookie, barring an injury. That's what it is. This is all about Jaxson Dart. We told you guys yesterday on the stream, everything now after an 0-3 start and the way that we looked against the Kansas City Chiefs should be about the development and the maturation of Jaxson Dart. Rob said, no way Illuminor would allow a move to guard. He's having a great season. Sign him to be a right tackle. I do agree on that. But I don't agree that Jermaine Illuminor would give pushback, because he's even said it. He's willing to play at any position that can help the New York Giants. He said that at the beginning of the 2024 season when in training camp he was lined up at guard. So I think Illuminor would be game for it, but I think the best option there, I agree with you that Jermaine Illuminor should be playing right tackle. No Mets, no Nets, no Jets says Bobby has been throwing shots, though. I guess he's talking about Bobby Skinner with the whole shit with Believe and whatnot. They little pum-pums, they not. I don't even think like you got to think about it. He shoots a little pew-pew at him, right? At Carl Banks and them, if that's what you're talking about. And then Carl Banks and them literally did a segment on their recap show dedicated to Bobby Skinner, breaking down what he was talking about. That's feeling some kind of way. That's definitely feeling some type of way, for sure. Bluegrass said that Jameson is going to set in. It might be a 3-hour session. It might. We'll see, man. I don't know. I'm kind of feeling like I'm seeing the little scroll bar in the chat get a little bit closer to the bottom. We'll see. I kind of want another one. I ain't going to lie, but I can't be up here just getting crazy. You feel me? Sam Costanzo says, I don't know, man. I'm excited, but I'm very concerned about our problems running so deep that we are not setting him up well. We can't ruin this kid. I guess no quarterback has a perfect situation, though. Like, I don't agree with the whole like we can't ruin him thing or we shouldn't ruin him thing, right? Like, if you're a good quarterback, you're gonna shine. Like all the shit that Sam Darnold went through with the New York Jets, Geno Smith as well. It wasn't enough to stop him from being a successful quarterback in the NFL. Talent is talent. Teams are going to recognize talent, whether you struggled in a couple of games as a rookie or not. Don't forget that Eli Manning went out there in his rookie season in 2004 and literally shit the fucking bed, man. 7 losses. And then he came back in 2005, and from 2005 to 2012, Eli Manning and the New York Giants did not have a single losing season. The best way to learn is to get thrown out there. I'm sure you can speak from experience, right? Like being the first week at a job where you might not feel too comfortable. Look, I can tell you a story about my profession that absolutely aligns with this. So when I first got to the first recording studio that I worked at professionally and was getting paid for, right? We had a client come in and he was working with, we had 3 engineers at that studio, and we had a client come in and he had a pretty elaborate setup where, for all my producers out there, you'll know that this is a very elaborate setup. We were using MIDI time code, and we were having to sync his beat machine that he had. He had a old school like Bose DR version of a beat machine. So we had to sync that with Pro Tools with a whole entire another system so that they ran in conjunction in sync. So basically when you press play on one beat machine, everything is daisy chained to that to work in sync with that beat machine. It was something that I really had not had a lot of experience doing until that moment in time. My boss at the time comes in and he's like, look, Authentic, like our other engineers having trouble over here. You got experience doing this? I'm like, not a lot, but like put me in front of it. Let's try and make it happen. I made it happen. We ended up syncing up that whole session. Long story short, till this day, that client is still one of my clients, but more importantly, he's my lawyer till this day. And when I actually had a lawsuit going up against that exact same studio, he represented me and sent all the information that I needed to send to that particular studio that said, if y'all want to try to create a lawsuit up against Authentic for any type of ownership, for any type of work that he has done in this studio, we are going to sue the fuck out of your asses. And that was the last I heard from that studio. So you guys can speak, I'm sure, from your day-to-day lives, being thrusted into a situation where you might not have been all the way ready. But if that's your calling, you're going to get the job done. And I'm looking at Jaxson Dart as one of those guys right now. And Sam, I understand the just being a little bit like hesitant on it, right? I understand that part of it too, right? Like I don't know. I do get that part as well. Let me see. Charlie Hefter said Jordan's got Bobby acting up. Hey, man, I don't think Bobby was in the wrong at all, at least from what I saw. I don't think Bobby was in the wrong at all. And I really didn't think Carl was in the wrong at all either. I really just thought it was just the tone that Bob Papa said. He's a content creator. Another one. Oh, he made it sound like it was condescending. That's the best way. And I think that if Bob Papa wanted to just clear that shit all the way up, all he would have to do is just say, my bad. I wasn't trying to come across as condescending. Done. Simple as that. But hopefully with this Jaxson Dart news, that shit don't linger too long and we ain't got to be dealing with that stuff. Alex Hobson's in the building. He said, fuck it. We blow ass anyways. Might as well see Dart. The said, man, Young Hoku was missing kicks left and right last year, had a different offseason to correct his kicking issues. He didn't and was cut. The Illa, who's the better option? Give me a better option. I might consider it. Right now I'm looking at Young Hoku like at least his groin ain't all fucked up and he'll be able to go out there and at least kick the ball far enough to make it go at least past the uprights. You just got to hope that it goes between the uprights when it goes past them. I Am Jarrell says Bob Papa better watch out. The fans can get him out of here. Protect the content creators at all costs. Yeah, bro. Look, I'm going to tell you, when I was looking at the statement he said, when he said content creators, right, and I don't truly look at myself as like only a content creator, and I saw a lot of people were offended by it. Like I saw KB respond to it, Bad Dog responded to it, like just a bunch of content creators respond to it. And I tend to stay away from that shit because like, I don't want that kind of notoriety. I don't know, man. I'm just like, I remember talking to Timmy Foosball about this in his DM. Like, I don't care for none of that shit. Like, I really don't. I'm not trying to get in with those guys or none of that shit, right? I'm just trying to do my thing. But when I heard him say that, I did feel a certain kind of way, the way he was speaking, condescending on it, because I'm like, all content creators are not created equally. And Bobby Skinner is absolutely not a content creator that is created equally. He's not just some fan, as Bob Papa was trying to make it seem like, just speaking in front of a fucking mic. And I don't view myself as that either. Like, my whole thing is raising the bar, keeping the bar high for one, but raising the bar and trying to give people high quality content from basically a one-man band when we're doing the Giant Overreaction stuff and a two-man band when we're doing everything with Authentic and the Beard. So I feel Bobby's frustration. Like, you trying to kind of talk down on what I do. And Bobby is a guy that has committed basically his whole entire life to the New York Giants. You got to respect that, man. And shout out to the people that are on the beat or a part of the media or have credentials and have access to the New York Giants that do respect us as whatever we are, whether it be aspiring film creators, content creators, whatever it is that we're doing for the New York Giants. Shout out to the people that got respect for that. But you could tell that there was some kind of a vibe like of, you guys are lesser than. And listen, look, when I look in the mirror, there's no lack of confidence in what I do, bro. Like, I'm not going to be looking at Bob Papa looking at like, I wish I had your life. I'm glad I get to do what I get to do on a daily basis. And I'm grateful for that. And I think Bob Papa was just a little bit out of pocket there, and he put Carl Banks in a bad situation, to be honest. Let's see what else we got. Trying to catch up with y'all, man. I'm trying to we got a couple of more super chats that came in as well. Let's see. So we got this one. Let me see. Smart move. I think I already got that one from Peter Randazzo. Yeah, this one is definitely a new one from JP, the Money King, in the building. Coming in hot with the $4.99 super chat. Excuse me. He said, yeah, never able to make streams work at a sports agency during the day, but vacay and Giants content never misses, man. Big shout out to JP, man, for helping us raise the bar over here, man. We appreciate you, my dog. Let's see. B-Rog says trade for draft capital. I guess he's talking about the other quarterbacks, possibly Russell Wilson, maybe a Jameis Winston. Yeah, if you can, go out there and do it. Jonathan says, I'm so excited to see Jaxson, Moxie, on the field throw them darts, man. Absolutely, bro. Fob Blizzard said he's going to be at the game. Enjoy it, bro. That's going to be a fun one to be at, man. Like, there's something to be said about the unknown and the jitters it's going to give you. You know what I mean? Like, you're going to walk into that stadium excited as shit, man. You're going to sit down. First you're going to walk through the tunnel, and you know how you have that realization point when you walk through the tunnel of an NFL stadium where it just like the atmosphere just hits you, and you're going to step down to your seats, man, and you get to see a new quarterback take his first start. Man, it's going to be a beautiful day for you, man. Enjoy that game, Blizzard, and come back and let us know what you saw. Bookend Tackle says, I just want to see some highlights along the way, not expecting this team to be that much better. Right there with you, bro. JW said, Dart being announced as the starter just gave me a glimmer of hope. Win or lose, looking forward to evaluating him. Yeah, I mean, just think about what it's going to do for content, man. Like, these compilations we've been doing at the quarterback position, all the way dating back to almost 2 years ago where I did compilations for Jaxson Dart when he was at Ole Miss. And now being able to do those, man, while Jaxson Dart gets to start in New York, it's just going to be beautiful for all of us content creators that y'all know how it goes, man. When the Giants start to get eliminated from the playoffs and the year starts to go left and, the downfall of the team, people clock out and they don't want to see content. But this Jaxson Dart move is definitely going to keep things exciting. I'm looking forward to it. Hod says, Kayvon honestly been balling. I've been a hater, but this year he's always right there. Yeah, strength. You're starting to see the strength at the point of attack from Kayvon Thibodeau. The pressures. He led the team in pressures going into week 3. I'm here for it, man. I always thought Kayvon was getting an unfair shake, and I know he was the 5th overall selection, but he's always been a pretty decent player for us, just not living up to that top 5 hype that everybody wants him to live up to. But he's slowly but surely getting there. The Trash Man says, how much cap do we have? Got to try to keep Kayvon and Jermaine Illuminor. I think we have $1 million worth of cap space right now, so not really a good look. Timmy said, take another shot, motherfucker. I might. We'll see. God, when I look, the little bar on the chat was like getting down. It was about 75% there to the bottom. Not no more. So we might have to take a second shot. We'll see how things go for sure. Let's see. I almost want to leave this take another shot, motherfucker, on the screen the whole show. Christian C said, I have a feeling Joe's dumbass ain't going to re-sign Kayvon. I don't know. I'm not too sure. I mean, this is why I think he will. That's like one of his only guys that he drafted that's actually seeing some success. Homegrown talent is important, and he allowed some of those guys from the Dave Gettleman era to walk. So I don't know if Kayvon keeps playing the way that he has been playing. I think Joe Schoen will bring him back. This one comes from Aaron Giddens. He says, "Do you think having Dart as our quarterback can benefit us by tricking some defenses? Because do you think having Dart as our quarterback can benefit us by tricking?" Yeah, I mean, look. All right, so yeah, absolutely, man. RPO, read option, all that shit, man. Play action, it should all open up. Dart is more mobile, more elusive, can buy time. And, I think we'll get some better results. Door Gunner says results are what matters, though. When it comes to rookie quarterbacks and future franchise quarterbacks, you can't just judge the results within that small window of one season, in my opinion. To each his own. You can evaluate quarterbacks however anybody feels. But for me, even with Daniel Jones, I went all the way from 2019 to 2020 to 2021 on record here on this channel supporting Daniel Jones until I felt the evaluation was over at that point. Once 2021 was over and we weren't getting the results that we thought we needed, I thought the evaluation was over on Daniel Jones as well, but we'll see. B-Rog said, did Brian Daboll call the plays in 2022? No, he didn't. It was Mike Kafka, so that leans well for what we're doing here with Jaxson Dart. Apaka Nips now. I like that. It's a good play on words, bro. He said Daboll putting Jaxson Dart as QB1 is clearly a desperation move because he knows he's most likely going to get fired next week. I think some of it has to do with that as well, but losing games would have had Brian Daboll fired as well. The video that's pinned to our channel here was all about the beginning of the season, the difficulties of the schedule, and the only thing that was going to save Brian Daboll's job was wins. So I don't think bringing in Jaxson Dart's going to save his job, because if Jaxson Dart goes out there and stinks to join up, Daboll still going to probably get fired. When? That's the big question. Let's see. JW says, I'm not giving Daboll any excuses for the personnel. Him and Shane have had, 4 years to get the right ingredients in to cook a competent meal, to stay on the chef analogy, LOL. I like that. That's true. And I thought that they just made a couple of mistakes and a couple of things didn't go their way, because the first 2 years here were spent really not rebuilding. The first year was really just cleaning up the cap for Joe Schoen. They saw a lot of success, won 9 games, beat the Vikings in the playoffs, and they felt like they were close. So instead of committing to the rebuild, starting with the draft in 2023, they went out there and they tried to start building around Daniel Jones. They brought in Darren Waller, and unfortunately he retired, and just trying to build the offensive line around Daniel Jones, which those pieces are not going to be pieces for Jaxson Dart when Jaxson Dart is striding as the New York Giants quarterback. So that's where it got dicey. And there's no way to erase the mistakes that Joe Schoen had in his first 2 seasons, the offseason free agency and in the draft, those first 2 seasons. They were bad. Now you just hope that he can right some of his wrongs in the right direction. But that is why we don't have the particular roster of, especially from a youthful standpoint on the offensive side of the ball, is because of the way that the roster was being developed around Daniel Jones after that first season. So we'll see, man. I wanted some weapons, bro. I wanted some weapons in this draft, and we didn't get them. So next year we got to get some weapons. Let's see. I'm trying to catch up with y'all, man. I'm trying, dog. Mari Price says, how do you feel about Shane Bowen and Mike Kafka? Not great. Not great, man. Shane Bowen ain't been great. Mike Kafka had a nice little spark in 2022, but the first 3 games this year has not looked good play calling. So willing to give Mike Kafka a little more time and, to evaluate him a little bit more this season. And then Shane Bowen, I guess, it's only been 2 years, going into 2 years now. So I'll give him a little bit more time as well. Q-Dog said that twisted smile when the video opened up was priceless. Go Giants. Big shout out my dog one time. Yeah, man. Christian C says, I don't want a new head coach, but I do want new coordinators. Okay. That's a new take right there. Bookend Tackle says Dart was successful in the SEC. Question mark. He cut up the Dogs' defense, which isn't a bad defense. That's true. I mean, I think a lot of people are just looking at some of those other games where he struggled. And a lot of people wanted to focus on the Florida game. The Florida game was the game where he was playing so good in that game and then just fell apart for the last 2 drives. And I told people don't worry about it. I'm the person that posted that sequence, and it really went completely viral on Twitter, and people be trying to use that against me. Like people will copy that post and then respond to one of my posts with my post of the compilation of Jaxson Dart at the end of the Florida game. But listen, man, he's in the NFL now. The evaluation of him as a prospect is over. Now it's time to evaluate him as an NFL quarterback, and I'm really looking forward to that. J. Jarvicious says Dart wasn't good, quote unquote, in the SEC, but Shedeur was mid in the Big 12. So what? Yeah, Jay Gatsby's just trolling the shit out of us right now. Let's see. So this was all around the Shedeur time. I got to catch up to y'all, man. I got to catch up. Jaji05 said, "What up, fam? Mixed feelings. This feels like a bit of a panic move, but hey, 18-35-1 question mark? Yeah, panic. It's on Dart to determine if Daboll and Joe Shane live or die. For all our sakes, Dart, be the guy we hope you are." Yeah, I hope so too. I really think and I can't wait to get to this next comment. When it comes to Jaxson Dart this year and saving, Daboll and Joe Shane, I really think that if I'm trying to really think reasonable here. I stood my ground on that if John Mara was going to allow Brian Daboll to draft his quarterback, then he should allow his coach to see that through. For now, I'm going to stick with that. I don't think Brian Daboll's getting fired. Would it surprise me if he got fired? Absolutely not. But I don't think he's getting fired unless this goes even more left than it's already gone. And I don't know if that's possible. Let's see. Bookend said Dart has the right mindset. He'll be fine. I'm right there with you. I wanted to get to this one right here. So Die, or is that a L? Dlee? Is it like Glee with a D? Or is it D Lee? Maybe it's D Lee. We're going to call you Deuce Deuce for the day for that 22. So Deuce Deuce says that Dart is MAGA. Fuck Dart. Let me give y'all my stance on the politics stuff when it comes to especially football. All too often, people hate other people for who they want to vote for politically. Now, me, I'm a dude that I just stay out the way of all that politics shit. You're never going to see me even talking about politics. Honestly, I just have got to the point where I just don't give a shit about it no more. But we got to stop spreading hate for shit that people support, man. If somebody fucking MAGA or Donald Trump, whatever the fuck it is, that's not enough reason for me to hate somebody, right? So Dart, vote for whoever the fuck you want to vote for, man. I don't, it ain't my vote. I don't care, bro. That's how I feel about that. And I don't never talk politics on the channel, but I don't know, man. As I used to be like that. And I've said this before on the channel. I used to be like that. Somebody have a political affiliation. I'm like, man, fuck you. You supporting that guy? I'm not going to sit here and say I grew up. I'm going to say I just changed. It got to the point where listen, if you want to support, what you eat don't make me shit, man. Straight up. So, I really don't care about it too much. The Illa says people constantly bring up how a quarterback should sit, but at the same time, they can only bring up 3 examples where that approach actually worked over the past 20 years. It's stupid, ain't it? Everybody but Jordan Love. Everybody but Patrick Mahomes. Sit. That's really it. I'm trying to think who the third example is. Who's the third example? Nobody want to talk about Bo Nix, though, right? Nobody want to talk about Jaden Daniels. Nobody want to talk about Caleb Williams. Nobody want to talk about Joe Burrow. Nobody want to talk about Justin Herbert. Big facts, bro. Big facts. Christian C said, if the Giants were racist, why 90% of the roster is black? What? I've heard this one before, too, and people say they're only racist to the quarterback position. That's what I've heard. I don't know, man. The racist shit's crazy. Nick says, Giants are racist take is so wild. Tell me you have zero thought process without telling me. Facts on the Geno take from you. Yeah, I mean, if they were racist, they wouldn't allow Geno Smith to come in and fuck up Eli's shit. That's just what it is. East Coast Gridiron said, crazy. Me and you always on the same vibes with the like and sub thing. No pressure. Love that. Yeah, I'm just I enjoy the smaller chat. I ain't gonna lie. I enjoy knowing, just for instance, when I just see the names that are right here within this chat, within the screen of where you put yours. I see Dante, I see Bluegrass Picker here, I see John here, I see JDJ, a lesson learned. Greg Turdhaller's a new one that I'm starting to get accustomed to, but I know who he is. No Mets, no Nets, no Jets, Fa Blizza. This is all family, man. I enjoy that. I like that. And we welcome new people into the family, obviously, but the larger this platform gets, the longer the streams, the longer the streams are going to be. That's why the week one giant overreaction went for 5 hours, because I respect the people coming in here and expressing their opinions, and talking ball with me. So facts, man. Yeah, man. I've always, I don't know. That's always been my thing. I came from like the underground hip hop scene where it's like we shitted on the commercial. We're like, fuck all that shit. Fuck fame. Fuck commercial rap. Fuck anything that has to do with rap on television. I was like on my 7L esoteric, Def Jux, LP, Talib Kweli, Black Star movement shit, that it was like, yo, if you rapping about, getting money and popping bottles, fuck you. It took me a while to come around to some of the artists that had success doing that, man. Like, I used to be straight anti the industry for a while. And like, I still kind of got those vibes in me, man. Like I got my music right now on all platforms, and I've been just contemplating like being like, man, fuck Spotify and fuck Apple. Like they don't pay artists. Why? I know it's convenient for the listener to be able to go up there and just stream your music for basically for free, but like, bro, they're giving you pennies on the pennies when it comes to the royalties that come from Spotify and from iTunes and from these distribution companies. I'd much rather just go peer-to-peer, tap in with a good 1,000 people rather than, putting myself out there on a platform that really, you're being overlooked and your music is being undervalued. So I always been on them vibes, Dante. Let me see. I didn't want to miss a couple of those that I saw around that little stretch right there, too. Oh, yeah, it was John Fritz. John Fritz said, I appreciate your level-headed response to takes you don't agree with. Very refreshing. Keep on keeping on. Absolutely, bro. Like, I welcome it all, bro. Like, even if somebody want to come up here and talk shit about me, I don't give, man, whatever. You here, you're contributing to the algorithms. You're contributing to, the streams that we put out there. And we all having a good time, man. I've learned a long time ago, and Bleacher Report taught me this a lot, because, like, some people be so frustrated with their team that when you come up there and say negative shit about the team, now they mad at you. It is what it is at this point. I ain't tripping off none of that stuff, man. It's not going to make or break my day at the end of the day, and I'm grateful to just be able to have people to come up here and talk ball with. JDJ said, I don't know, Authentic. Surprised you can even operate that mouse after that shot. Yeah, man. I mean, it was a bit of a tall boy. Y'all don't know, man. Y'all really don't know, bro. Like, listen, man, I'm the product of an alcoholic lover. My father he could drink with the best of them. Rest in peace to Pops, but he definitely put me on. He let me know about them Heinekens early on, and then as I grew and got older, my taste kind of started leaning towards the IPAs. I went from like Sam Adams Boston Lager, which was like, ooh, this is actually a decent beer, to like, let's start digging into the hops, man. And IPAs, went to the Dogfish Head, 60 minutes, 90 minutes, 120. Started doing the Flying Dog, Double Dogs, and the Raging Bitch, and the more the merrier for me, man. I love a good IPA, love a good whiskey. For all my whiskey drinkers out there, if you haven't tried it, I really suggest you go out there and get the Willet Rye, Willet Rye. For one of my homies' bachelor parties before he got married, we went out to Kentucky and we took a tour of all of those distilleries out there, the whiskey distilleries and whatnot. Went to Bullet, Willet, Jim Beam, a few others. Hands down, that Willet Rye, it's about $60 for the fifth, though. It's pretty expensive. It's the best whiskey I've ever had. And I'm starting to kind of maybe try to venture out into, like the Scotch world a little bit. But for me, my top-notch whiskey is Willet. And as far as IPAs go, it's that Sculpin IPA, man, from Ballast Point. I don't even like grapefruit. It's a grapefruit IPA. That's the best IPA on the planet, in my opinion. Shout out my dog, though, JDJ. A lesson learned said, I think starting Dart was always dependent on when AT was fully ready to go. I hope that's not the case, man. Like, your future franchise quarterback shouldn't have anything to do with, who's out there on the field. Like, I want to see him get the reps, but it's good that Andrew Thomas is getting healthy now. And, you will have him out there as a left tackle to protect, your investment there. So I'm cool with it. Five Blizzard said, I'll drink with you for 2 days straight, big homie. All right. We'll see, man. I'm telling you, like, listen. I used to be in these streets, bro. I used to be like my liver definitely took a major hit out here in these streets. And I used to, especially when I was living like in DC, in the heart of DC, man, we would be out in the scene like pre-pandemic 3-4 days a week, man. Cause I looked at it as like, this is my job. I need to be out here networking, finding new clients, bringing in new clients to the studio, building up, my resume and whatnot. And man, we was out in them streets heavy. We was drinking, day drinking into night drinking, into the morning drinking. It's funny. One of my good homies, Dre, he was like my little youngin' coming up. He was like in middle school when I was like first coming out of high school and shit. And he's a Chargers fan, so I definitely got to hit him up, man, because this week's game is going to be one of them ones. But me and him used to have some late-ass nights. And the after parties I used to throw in the studio used to be crazy, man, keeping my shorty up late as shit. And, like, we was on some wild times back in the day. I've since grown. I mean, that was only about 5-6 years ago, but I've since grown since then. No Witnesses 85 said, we would have beat the Chiefs with being able to throw over the middle. How do we have Neighbors and just have him running go routes, laughing my ass off? That's true. Shout out Messiah Mills says, what up, Authentic? If we fire Daboll and Shane and we end up with a top 5 pick, do we draft a guy like Nuss or Sellers? No, hell no. Hell no. I'm not doing that. Unless Jaxson Dart looks absolute garbage, that's not for me. JD said CJ Gardner-Johnson to New York a good fit, or am I bugging? It depends. I don't know about a good fit now with the way that they try to address the safety position. And you can't forget that Javon Holland is making what, over 30? I think he's making like $36 million over 3 years, something like that. Tyler Nubin out there. Tyler Nubin's looked okay. I thought he's, stepping up, doing a good job in the running game. I thought he did a pretty decent job against Travis Kelce as well. You could tell they had an emphasis of him shadowing him throughout that game, and I thought he started off pretty well. Decent fit, not a great fit in my opinion. Excuse me. This was from Pocket Nips Now. He said, exactly, Greg Turd Haller. If the Giants are such a racially prejudiced organization, then how come we have 2 black quarterbacks and just signed a Korean kicker? Yeah. I just, like, look, I always leave room for something to be true. Like, I can't sit up here and say definitively, ain't no one in that building racist. I can't say that. I don't know these motherfuckers. I have no idea. But at the end of the day, you got to find proof to back them statements if you're going to go out there and be saying stuff like that out on a limb. Let's see. Book and Tackle said Dart showed he manipulates a tight pocket well. Absolutely. The only concern I had from Dart manipulating the pocket was in the Senior Bowl. He looked a little sketched out there. Barry Daniel says, what happened with Tracy and Neighbors' injuries? Neighbors is good to go. He came back in actually after one play. Tyrone Tracy's going to be out for at least 2 weeks, it's looking like. So they're saying about 2 to 4 weeks. So we'll keep you updated over here, obviously, on the health of Tyrone Tracy. It's looking like it might be a little bit of time for Turbo Miller to get elevated. No Met said we haven't looked NFL speedy in decades. That's so true, bro. That is so true. Very, very true. Yo Was Good said went to college with Cool cat with the clutch gene. Glad he's here. I like that. Stephen R said overreaction or hot take. Giants will now have offensive rookie of the year in Dart and a defensive rookie in the year in Abdul Carter. I like that take, bro. I definitely like that. PB is in the building. Says Dart hasn't played high-quality NFL talent yet. What makes you say that Dart will be the game changer? I ain't never say Dart was going to be a game changer. Don't get me fucked up here, PB. Come on now. Based on what exactly? What have I missed? I don't know what Dart's going to do going up against these ones, but I'm confident in what I saw from Dart. Like, I've evaluated Dart as a prospect for way too long. Like, I know all about Jaxson Dart's college career, and I've watched every one of his games on a coach's film. If any of y'all are interested in getting that tape, hit me up on Twitter. I'll send you a couple of games. But I'm confident in Jaxson Dart. I'm not saying he's going to go out here and be a game changer. The Giants offense lacks weapons. This is the exact same Giants offense from 2024 minus the quarterback position. So has anybody said anything about Jaxson Dart being a game changer in the chat? Maybe I missed something. I totally could have missed that. But for me, I don't expect Jaxson Dart to go out here and win the New York Giants 10 out of the next 14 games or no crazy shit. Nah, definitely not. I just want to see the evaluation. I'm hyped to see new. That's really what it is for me, man. So often people get hype confused, but I'm not necessarily saying that that's PB here, but maybe somebody said that in the chat. But I don't know. I'm not too sure, bro. Greg says, I agree, Authentic. I think Dave stays to the end of the season for sure now, win or lose. Yeah, I think he's good throughout the season. Shout out my dog, Rob. He said, I can't wait to see Leak and Dart and Scat. Let's go. Yeah, man, like in the preseason when Jaxson Dart threw that touchdown and Leak was on the sidelines and they jumped up and, looked like they were doing like an ice skating pirouette. Man, like you could tell them dudes hyped to play with each other, man. So I'm looking forward to seeing it, man. It's going to be fun times. I thought I saw another. Oh, yeah, Pietro's in the building. He says, Joe Shane is the reason why this team is trash. Poor Daboll has to deal with an F-grade roster. I wouldn't go as far as to call it an F-grade roster, but I will give you this, Pietro. If we're talking about offensively, yeah, it's a bad roster. You got issues on the interior offensive line. You got, average running back play right now. One real weapon in Malik Neighbors. Wanda Robinson had the one game against Dallas, looked pretty good, and then came back down to earth. So I'd go with a D- grade for the offense right now. But I hear you. I mean, these ingredients come from Joe Schoen. From what we know, you just got to hope that Brian Daboll is influencing the players that he wants to bring in if they view him as the future guy at the coaching position. So we'll see. Let me see. PB said positive vibes. Yeah, absolutely, man. You already know. I'm loving the positive vibes, man. Like Jaxson Dart this is great. I get to watch as a aspiring cinematographer who has, put my foot in some big movies already. I get to see Jaxson Dart on fucking Hard Knocks, man. That is an amazing thing right there. That is an amazing thing. So I'm looking forward to it, man. I'm hype. They could go out there and lose every game. I don't care. Pietro Gambino said, Joe hasn't picked a single good player besides Malik Neighbors. And if Dart does well, it wasn't even his pick. It was Daboll's. You could tell in the draft videos. You totally agree with what you're saying there about, Dart being Daboll's guy. That's fact. Picking a single good player, you got Malik Neighbors, who obviously you stated there is a good player. I think the Kayvon Thibodeau is a good player. I think Wan'Dale Robinson is knocking on the door of being a good player. But overall, you're right here, bro. Like, Joe Schoen has struggled in them first couple of drafts. And, a lot of people wanted to crown some of the picks from the 2024 draft, like Tyrone Tracy and a few others. And, those just aren't looking as great as it's playing out in real time right now. So all we can do is hope that if Joe Schoen is the guy as far as the general manager position goes moving forward, all we can hope for is that he's righting the ship in the right direction and that, he's learning from those mistakes and correcting some of those issues. So we'll see, man. The homegrown talent on this roster is very thin, and that is definitely in fault, of Joe Schoen for sure. Hod says the pressure is there, but it goes to show having a mobile quarterback can just make the pressure useless if they can escape and make a play. So true, man. Like Patrick Mahomes was under duress that entire game. And I feel like when I was reading off the box score on a Giant overreaction, I feel like I thought I read he was sacked 2 times in that game. But then I saw some people talking about on social media that Patrick Mahomes wasn't sacked in the game. So maybe he wasn't sacked in the game. So, very comfortable. They got some pressure on him, but he was just extremely comfortable. Yeah, and Genesis is doubling down, saying especially on the offensive side. I do agree. Josh said after 3 games with a rookie quarterback, you're more than likely conceding the year. Yeah. Let Dart learn on the job and prepare now for next year. Weapons, protection, defense, etc. Surround our quarterback with talent. That's pretty much what it is. And, it gives you that one out, that if Jaxson Dart is really him, because look, man, nobody came into the 2024 season thinking that Jaden Daniels was going to be able to drag that Washington Commanders roster to the NFC Championship. Nobody. We all thought they were going to be at the bottom of the division. We knew that Jaden Daniels was going to help them progress and had the potential to be a future franchise quarterback. I wanted him in New York, but I knew we weren't going to have a shot to get him. But as soon as he came in, granted, they did a bunch of new stuff, new coordinator, new coach, new defensive coordinator, new owner, new all that shit, right? I get that part too. But the quarterback position was the biggest change that we saw. And bringing in a competent backup in Marcus Mariota and seeing the way he played against the Raiders shows you that it's not just a quarterback in Washington. It is a team thing. But maybe this is the thing that can help galvanize this team and get us going in the right direction. We'll see. JD said, I'm in second place in the AATB Fantasy Football League. Not me. Your boy is in last place right now, and I forgot to set some things in that lineup. John says, got my first loss due to CD going down. Yeah, I lost Joe Burrow in that league, man. Not a good look. We got to start. You know what we should do? Because we haven't been doing the parlay on Sunday mornings. The beer's just been extremely busy with the baby. But maybe we find a way to do a show that's just dedicated to the 2 fantasy football leagues. I think that might be fun. PB said college stats are useless in the NFL. He's showing nothing so far. I'm not seeing the hype. Did you look at the tape? Let's just say that college stats are useless. Have you looked at Jaxson Dart's tape? Because the reps don't say that. If you're saying you're not seeing it, the reps don't say that. The reps say this kid got goods. So if you ain't seen the tape, let me know. I'll send you some games, bro. You can look at this all compiled. You can see it from the All-22. I didn't come up here and say that Jaxson Dart is quarterback 2 in this draft for no fucking reason. I can say that confidently, very confidently. And I put in the work, bro. Let me know if you put in the work and you saw it and you think, oh, he's just some fucking dog shit quarterback. Everybody got opinions, man. You know what it is. Izzy said, new era begins, bro. Excited for this new journey for us all. You earned a fan all the way from Bleacher from suffering of years of trash. He said, cheers to new beginnings. It's Ludacris, by the way, man. Big shout out to Ludacris. I remember you from Bleacher Report, man. Appreciate you pulling up, rocking out with us over here on the YouTube side of things, man, where we way more active. We just been extremely active this year. Bleacher Report's kind of getting away from a lot of the live streaming content, going to more short format stuff. So I only got 1 day a week over there throughout the season doing the recaps. But we've been here, man. We've been active. Pull up, rock out with us, man. Appreciate you being here. The Illa says, nah, the wide receiver for the Titans who gets all those return yards. Oh, that's what it was. So it wasn't a tight end. I got you. He said, looking like a young Devin Hester out there. I saw he put up a bunch of points. You still convincingly beat me, too, in that fantasy league, man. Jermaine Bryant said, what did people expect us to do if we didn't start Dart and threw Russ back out there and he stinks it up? Would have been calling for his head, so it's damn if you do, damn if you don't. Can't please us all. That's true. That's definitely true. PB said Daboll started 4-0 and he's under 500 cents, and you think he's not as bad as Joe Judge? I thought Daboll started off better than 4-0. Didn't Daboll start off like 6-0? I know it was 6-1. Was it just 4-0? I mean, look, man, like PB, I don't care. Like, listen, I'm not here to change no one else's opinion. If you think Joe Judge was worse than Brian Daboll, cool. They both been fucking terrible. Like, why are we splitting hairs on it? Like, I don't care about it. Like, Brian Daboll ain't been good. Joe Judge was fucking terrible. Anthony Rodriguez said Neighbors, Dart, and Scat are going to shock the NFL. I hope so, bro. I hope so. Gives us an opportunity for sure. Greg said, how many of those quarterbacks have panned out? Not many. We can count them on our fingers on one hand. I'm trying to think what Greg talking about the quarterbacks. Are you talking about the quarterbacks that got thrown to the Wolves from day one? Or are we talking about quarterbacks that didn't get to start week one? I've done a deep research on all this. I really should just pull up the notes, but we'll save it for another stream. But like, there are instances that support both cases, but there are more instances, especially since the CBA, when there's been an emphasis on starting quarterbacks within the first 5 years of their deal, with the 4 years underneath contract and the 5th year option as well. Since that has happened, quarterbacks that start from day one, I can name you a ton of them that have had success day one. Like, if you want to say it worked out, I mean, I don't know. Like, you could, like, RG3 falls into a bag where in the long run it didn't work out, but in 2012 absolutely lit the fucking league on fire and balled the fuck out and took them to the playoffs and all that good shit. Andrew Luck is another one that started from day one and it worked out. Jared Goff is another one that started from day one and it worked out. Y'all want to just do a little exercise and just go through the quarterbacks in the NFL right now? Drop something there. Oh, let's do it. I think we did this sort of the other day, but let's just do this real quick and look around the league, of quarterbacks that started from day one. And I know our lads is a good way to do this. And let's go every QB1. And we'll just see, and you guys can kind of agree. And as I do this, I'll still kind of scroll through the chat and I'll just kind of keep this up so we are still making our way down. I hope that didn't, my mouse just took a little tumble, man. I hope I didn't just break it. Yeah, I didn't. We good. Come on, where we at with it? Oh, there we go. Y'all saw that moving in the background? I was like, where the fuck's my mouse at? Let's see. So, and let me make sure we didn't get any more super chats. We did. Joseph Winograd sent us another super chat here. Shout out Joseph for helping us raise the bar here one time. He said over under 10 sacks for Kayvon Thibodeau. I'm going to say just under. I'm going to say 9. I like that. I say 9. But it wouldn't surprise me if he got over. Should have did 10.5. So we could really get a definitive number. But shout out Joseph helping us raise the bar. And big shout out to Izzy, man. Appreciate you with the $20 super chat, man. That definitely goes a long way helping us support this channel. He said, new era, fresh expectations. You earned a fan for me on Bleacher Report, all bottom of the barrel for years. But your content been therapeutic from the darkness this franchise overshadowed us with. This Ludacris, by the way. Shout out Luda. Luda's in the building, man. Y'all know what it is, man. Appreciate you helping us raise the bar, my dog. B-Rog says, and he's coming in with the $5 super chat. He says, I sat behind the first string defensive end on my semi-pro team. Trust me, it didn't work. I'm still waiting for my shot. P.S. Thanks for no politics. Yeah, man, I know politics I fucking hate. Politics is like the number one thing that got people divided in this country, man. I fucking hate politics, bro. That shit gets on my nerves. But shout out my dog, B-Rog. Shout out my dog, Luis, with the 199 super chat. Me and wifey was talking about this when I was saying, you give me them Dominicano Boricua vibes, and she said she saw you in the chat saying you was Boricua. She's Boricua too. So I'm glad I got that right. My dog Luis said, Dart is our only hope to keep Neighbors from leaving. That's a great point right there because, man, it was looking like Neighbors' frustration was definitely toppling over, and that was starting to become an issue. So hopefully with Dart out there, man, they can develop together and, have to jump over, go through, fall over the hurdles all together, and hopefully that builds a bond with the two of them. But shout out my dog Luis for helping us support the channel one time. Damn, yo, the chat is just, I'll be here till tomorrow if we go through the whole chat. All right, Greg Turdhaller says, Giants content creators are some of the least developed you'll find considering the size of the market. It's content creators that cover college football teams from micro markets with more production value, and it's sad. That is true. I did notice that. Like, even when I first got into doing content for the New York Giants, that was one thing that I noticed that could be my lane as a guy who's a producer, that runs a media company, cinematography, background, all of that. I noticed that there wasn't a lot of guys that had high quality. So I'm like, all right, I can at least bring that vibe. The Beard came up with the idea, like, let's start a football podcast. We'll bring the takes to the table and whatnot. I know the production, and the rest is history. But I do think a lot of people are catching up, like Bobby being one of them as well. Like when they got with John Boy, I thought the quality was awesome. And there are a few other guys. The Juke, who was just in here earlier. Love the quality of his channel, man. He's always trying to raise the bar with the quality as well. As long as you got good audio, though, I think you're pretty set. The video is not as important. I think that goes for movies as well. Like, you don't got to shoot something on a big, IMAX type of camera to be able to get the right quality if your sound is right. I think sound is king, and a good movie will not be a good movie if it has bad sound. Same thing goes for content. But, Greg, that's something, good observation right there for sure, bro. Let's see. Greg also said more Giants fans need to step out there like Authentic in the Beard and Bobby Skinner so we can get more and better content. That's true, man. I'm for the greater good of this channel. I hope that they don't catch on to all the vibes we got going on. But I always tell people, like, I'm here to help people as far as getting their quality right. And anybody that want to start a podcast, got any questions about audio, mics, sound effects, lighting? Like, so many people don't understand that sound and lighting are just as important as the camera. Like, if I turn this off, that come on now. You know what I'm saying? So it's like lighting is so important for a podcast, and you don't got to spend a ton of money, man. You can get the job done with, just a couple of $100 spent on your gear, man. Invest in yourself. I think that's very important. Chris D says Dart beat garbage teams mostly, and he was projecting an early second-round pick. He was such their choice. He wasn't picked at 3. It's just smart draft strategy, man. Okay, you said it, right? He was projecting as an early second-round pick. Is that what you wanted? Like, would you have preferred us to just draft him in the second round? I don't know. I like what they did. They went out there and got the generational talent in this draft in Abdul Carter, traded up, got their quarterback, and it didn't hurt them for getting their 3-tech defensive tackle that they wanted in Darius Alexander. So that's all preference. Everybody got their preference. I feel you. Let's see. Timmy Foosball said, I can confirm after many chats, both good and bad, with my dog in the DMs, Authentic is completely authentic. This is as real as it gets in the giant content creator space. He said, Bob Papa's a dinosaur. All right, man. Shout out to Bob Papa, man. I got no shade for Bob Papa. Even though the 1 or 2 encounters I've had with Bob Papa, it didn't seem like he really fucked with me, man. Like, imagine if he was talking about a content creator and a content creator that goes by Authentic. He would have been dogging the shit out of me up there, I bet. Collusion says, I stay as far out of politics as I can. People take this shit to a new level these days. Can't even have conversations with it. So smart to stay out of the way. Yeah, man. I don't fuck with politics. Say Less said the same thing. I just don't fuck with it. Alex Hobson said, so fucking what? Bro can like who he likes. I'm worried about how he plays, not who he votes for. Yeah, same here, bro. All right, so we're at the politic part. I know I'm way behind right now. I got to scroll down, y'all. I got to. I mean, we've been here for what? 2 hours? I got to scroll down. We'd be, yeah. I'm trying to catch up. Okay, there we go. So that's the bottom of it right there. Let's go about right here. Let's go about right here. Okay. So, Greg also said, great players are great players regardless of who they voted for. Ninjas had the nerve to go after Saquon for visiting the White House, scratching my head. After the season, he had voted #1 player at his craft by his peers. I wish I had a round of applause for you right now, because that's such a great fucking statement and a great take right there, man. Like, I don't understand why people care about that shit. It's bitter. People are fucking bitter. That's all. People are fucking bitter, fucking angry. They can't drive. Get the fuck out my way on the road. All of that good stuff, bro. Like, definitely feel you on this statement here. Marlo says, I pray the football God smile on us, and this is the beginning of a new great era in Giants football. I'm excited to watch. Trade Russ for anything you can get. Facts. Junior Play says, if you like rum, try Dominican rum. Bro, I know all about the Brugala. Come on, dog. I know all about. Listen, so like, wifey is Puerto Rican. She's half Puerto Rican. Her mom is Bolivian. And her mom is married to a Dominicano. Shout out my dog, Roby, my man, okay? And we definitely dabble in all the cultures as far as drinking goes. And I'm Haitian, so we know all about the rum. You know, that's one of our staples in Haiti, is one of the rums that we drink called Bombacourt. And I know all about the Brugal. It's another joint. What's the joint? Because Brugal ain't the shit that they put the vines in, right? Like there's a Dominican rum that they like put like the bark and the leaves and all the wood and all that. Maybe it is Brugal, but I can't remember if it's another one. It might be Brugal. I could be wrong on that too. But yeah, I know all about it. The rum, and I'm not picky when it comes to drinking. Like, whiskey is my top-notch dog. But I'll drink rum, I'll drink vodka, I'll drink tequila, whatever. I'll drink it all, man. Scotch, all of that good stuff. Yeah, Dominicanos know about the rum for sure. Let me see. Lil Iggy said, any totally hot babes in here? Yo, that's crazy. Dwayne Mason said, I told you on Twitter, the breaking news I want to see is everyone gone. Daboll, Bowen, Kafka, etc. Keep Brandon Brown as the general manager with cap room and really rebuild. Respect. Marlo said Russ might be willing to stay, though. His family is settled. Kids are in school. Russ might just accept his plight and help Dart. Would be good for our front office rep. This is the thing about that, too. If Russ stays in the New York Giants facility and just backs up Jaxson Dart and keeps the same vibes that he had as he was the starter, I think it'll just yield well for him as far as like the people that think he's fake. Like, go out there and now show. If he's completely fake, then he's going to want to get the fuck out of New York, right? He's not going to sit up here and try to be helping out no rookie quarterback. But I do think it'll speak volumes if he stays here and just continues to help with the development of Jaxson Dart. You know, that'll be cool. I would actually love to see that. JDJ said, Bob Papa watching this like, look at this drunk fan. Lil Iggy said, is 5 inches a good length? Damn, dog. You struggling, bro. We need to get you some action. We need to get, if somebody got somebody y'all can maybe refer to Lil Iggy, put him on a hot date or something, this motherfucker needs some action right now. He is thirsty right now. He needs some cheeks in his life extremely bad, man. Somebody, represent and refer somebody over to Lil Iggy. He's coming across like a fucking savage right now in this chat, man. Let's see. Stephen R. said, go Tigers. He talking about LSU. Diggy's in the building. Big shout out my dog Diggy, another great content creator. He said, I'd let the new coach, general manager, take whoever they want unless Dart looks transcendent. Yeah, I mean, it's not up to me, right? Like, if a new coach comes in, even if Jaxson Dart looks good and goes, look, I want to move on from this kid. We need to draft another quarterback, make it a competition going into 2026. So be it. But I'm confident in Jaxson Dart that's not going to need to be, the plan of attack. I'm definitely confident. Problem says, Authentic, what's up? Just wrapped up class. Glad to catch the stream. I'm excited for the Jaxson Dart era. Me too, bro. Me too. Oh, I know Diggy's an LSU fan as well. He liking that Go Tigers vibes. Timmy Football said it's a family over here. Absolutely. Let me see what else we got. I'm catching up. I'm getting there. Diggy said they're racist, but they let a black journeyman break Eli's streak. Yeah, that's what I was saying earlier, bro. That part of it don't make no sense. Just make the math if you're going to say something, right? Like, I'm all about coming off of one of my stances or coming off of one of my takes, but just make it make sense for me. Like, I don't know how that makes sense. Like, we're gonna tarnish the legacy of Eli Manning, the greatest quarterback in New York Giants history, who does happen to be Caucasian. And we're going to start Geno Smith, who just so happens to be an African-American quarterback, who I want to say was on the team for just one fucking year, too. Nah. And then we're going to fire the white coach. It all don't make no sense, bro. The Illa said, those safeties better not let Quentin Johnson get behind them this week. I can already see them locking in on Ladd over the middle and losing track of Johnson. That's very true, man. And the drops that Quentin Johnston had, the issues he had last year, seem to be a bit gone, man. He's been balling out. I'm a big fan of his. And I hate when people write off rookie wide receivers that quickly. Big fan of his. Phase 114 said, yo, I'm hyped for this weekend. What would it take for Dabes to keep his job? I just think, like, as long as it's not a straight-up disaster, you know, and Jaxson Dart can go out there and look like, okay, he's developing, he's maturing, he's keeping us in games, I think Daboll's going to be safe, at least for the rest of the year. Let's see. I'm just seeing what y'all talking here. Okay, Nick says, random question from a younger fan who doesn't remember the Super Bowl wins. Compared to OBJ and Malik, how good was Plaxico Burress? So, Plaxico was not like, you know, an athletic phenomenon like how Malik Neighbors and OBJ are. Like, 2014, when OBJ busts onto the scene, like, we didn't see many wide receivers playing the game like that, period. Like, that kind of breakaway type of capability, we had never seen that. Plaxico Burress was more like what we thought we were getting from a Kenny Galladay. Like, if you go back and you look at Kenny Galladay in Detroit, that's kind of what Plaxico Burress looked like. Like, he was a guy that excelled on the outside, and he also, I would say more like an A.J. Brown. That's how Plaxico played the game. He was definitely a top wide receiver in the league at the time. I wouldn't go as far as to say that Plaxico Burress was like the best receiver in his era. I would never say that, but he was like a top 10 guy in his time. And, yeah, I think he played the game, you know, from a physical standpoint and a down-the-field, stretch-the-field standpoint like an A.J. Brown. That's how I kind of view that. We'll see what the chat kind of says about it, too. I'm sure they got some opinions on it as well. Let me see. Shanita Jackson's in the building. Shout out Shanita. She says, Dart starting, and I apologize. I said she. I'm not 100% sure. I always be like he this, she that. I don't even know, to be honest. But Shanita Jackson said, Dart starting will either save our Giants or set them back even more. Hopefully Dart balls out. So what happens to Russ now? Russ is just going to be there to aid Jaxson Dart, and in case Jaxson Dart gets hurt, Russ Wilson will come back in the game as the backup quarterback. I don't see really any way this is going to set the New York Giants back. Their back is against the wall. There's no further back that the Giants can really go here. So I think that, you know, this move just insinuates that we're trying to get back into the positive direction and get our backs off the wall, and I got no problem with it. Messiah Mills says it's frustrating watching this offensive so it's frustrating seeing this offensive scheme, and I guess how horrible it is. We have zero intermediate pass game, but I'm hoping that changes with Dart. I think that was the best part of his game in college. Yeah, he could stretch the field, intermediate, deep down the field. Him and Trey Harris were lights out, man. Big fan of Dart, man. I'm looking forward to this start. It's going to be fun. The Illa says Plax was just a matchup nightmare for us. His size at nearly 6'6" and his wingspan gave Eli a lot of different options as far as where to place the ball. Great breakdown there. Kevin the PRF talking about the Washington Commanders says that the owner was the biggest change we saw. That was huge. I don't know if it was the biggest change, though. I still think that bringing in Jaden Daniels was it. That was it. Like, y'all wouldn't be doing this with Sam Howell. No way. Solitary Camp says trade Russ for a defensive tackle 2 or a defensive back. I got faith in Darius Alexander, but I would take that. You know, you got to think about the teams that need a quarterback right now. It's basically the Cincinnati Bengals. Like, that's it. So You'd have to think about a defensive tackle that, would come from over there probably. Christian C said Leak, Waddle, and Tyson. I mean, that would be crazy. Stephen Arce has been talking about. I didn't even see it before I highlighted it. It got a little up with the flame arrow. Excuse me, but Stephen Arce has been talking about, trading for Waddle for a long time. That would be awesome. I don't know if they would do it, but Miami Dolphins look like shit right now. Maybe they're willing to do it now. FaZe said, love this cast, no glazing. Discovered you on Bleacher. Shout out FaZe, man. Yeah, and Bleacher Report's a tough place to discover me on, man, because like a lot of people on Bleacher Report just be screaming at the screen, just blah, it's just like that kind of shit, man. And during the Daniel Jones era, not a lot of people over there fucked with me. They were just like, this guy's telling me about how bad my team is. Like, I didn't make the team bad, bro. But shout out FaZe, man. Greg says, Lane Kiffin makes all them boys look great, so I'm not writing Dart off, but I got to see it against that Chargers defense. I feel you on Lane Kiffin making a lot of people look good, for sure. But, I encourage people to just look at the reps. Like, Matt Corral didn't play the quarterback position at Ole Miss like Jaxson Dart did. It was very different. Jaxson Dart just got a little something different, and I know the competition at times wasn't that great, that he was dog walking, but being weary is okay. That's cool, But the other thing, the second half of this statement here, I don't think you just want to see it just against the Chargers. Like, let's see it in this entire sample size. Let's see what Jaxson Dart has, man. And if he can, show us that there's some promise there at the quarterback position, it'll be great for all of us. Shout out Mike Glenn. He says, if you were going to bench Russell going into week 4, why not bench him when the Kansas City game was within reach? I thought that was an option. Like we were down 2 scores and, there's about 4 minutes left in the game. I thought it was an opportunity to go out there and see if Jaxson Dart, could go out there and play in a little bit of garbage time. I guess Brian Daboll and the coaching staff thought that they were close within that game where they could have probably won it. I'm not mad at them giving Russell Wilson the 3 full games. I'm not mad at it. This is from, I guess this is Nye. We're going to call you 01. 01 said, if college stats are useless, how do teams make their evaluation? I don't think that it is just stats, right? And I know this is to the response earlier that says they're useless. For me, it's about the reps primarily. I want to see the quarterback. I want to look at the mechanics. I want to look at the footwork. I want to look at the release. I want to look at the velocity. I want to look at the arm talent. I want to look at the leadership. I want to look at the mobility. I want to look at the pocket presence. All those things come from the tape, but the stats help. Like looking at PFF statistics on Jaxson Dart and being able to see how he performs when he's under pressure. How can somebody sit up here and say that those numbers are useless? I don't know, man. So I'm with you on this 00 or 01. Stats definitely play their part, but like at the same time, a box score doesn't tell the entirety of the story. So that's how I view it. Matt says people only say college stats are useless when the stats are good. Nobody is knocking on the door to draft a guy with 20 picks. Absolutely not. Yeah, absolutely not. And in return to that, right, it's like the game that gave Brandon Beane the goal to go draft Josh Allen was a game where he threw 3 interceptions in. But they were focusing on the reps, not the results. And that's why they ended up drafting one of the best quarterbacks we've seen over the last decade. Let's see. Solitary Camp said, bro, Joe Judge, that guy doesn't know ball. I hear you, right? I do hear you because it was a crazy statement. And it's just harping on the details that don't matter. Both of them are bad, right? Brian Daboll and Joe Judge, both of them have not gotten good results from the New York Giants. But why are we going to have a measuring contest of like who's more pathetic? Like, it don't matter to me. I want to see the coach that's coaching my team right now be good. I want to see him excel until he's gone. It's like I view it as if like, Russell Wilson's playing 3.5 bad quarters of football. When we get to the 4th quarter, if there's a chance to win the game, I want to see Russell Wilson go out there and win the game. And same goes for my coach. Let's see. Greg Turdhaller was talking about ones that got thrown to the Wolves since 2011. I forgot about that. I did. Thank you for reminding me because I forgot about the exercise that I wanted to do where we go through all the teams, right? Let me get this ad off the screen. I still got it up here. Okay, so let's look at it. Josh Allen played year 1. Tua played year 1. Drake May played year 1. Justin Fields played year 1. Lamar Jackson played year 1. Jake Browning, okay, we're going to say Joe Burrow, played year 1. Joe Flacco played year 1. Aaron Rodgers sat the bench. That's 1. We're going to go through 32 teams. That's one. Aaron Rodgers. C.J. Stroud lit it the fuck up as a rookie. That's another one. Daniel Jones is starting for the Indianapolis Colts. He's having some success. He started his rookie year. He's another one. So we still just at one right now. Where we at here? Daniel Jones. Trevor Lawrence started year one. That's another one. Cam Ward, he started week one. Bo Nix started year one. Patrick Mahomes, now we're at two. He only played one game his rookie year, and I won't count it because it was definitely the last game of the season. We'll go with Patrick Mahomes. That's two. Dak Prescott started as a rookie. Russell Wilson started as a rookie over the veteran guy in Matt Flynn that they paid to come over there. Russell Wilson's a future Hall of Famer, likely. Jalen Hurts didn't play year one. That's three now. It's three quarterbacks. Jaden Daniels played year one. Caleb Williams, year one. Jared Goff, year one. Jordan Love, that's four now. Didn't play year one. J.J. McCarthy didn't play year one. We'll say it's five, even though it was to an injury. I'm going to give you that one. That's five. Michael Penix Jr. played year one. Didn't start the whole year. We want to make Michael Penix Jr. 6. He only played 3 games that first year. We'll make Michael Penix Jr. 6. But where we at? Bryce Young played year one. Spencer Rattler didn't play year one. We'll make that 7 now of the 32 that we're getting to. We'll make Spencer Rattler 7. I don't look at him as the long-term answer because Tyler Shuck, both of them you could say have not started year one. But if Tyler Shuck starts to start games, you know where to go with that. Baker Mayfield started year one. I don't remember how many games it was. I think it was Tyrod Taylor that was over there for a little while first. But Baker Mayfield played the majority of his rookie season, I believe. So we're at 7. Kyler Murray played year one. Matthew Stafford, I believe, played year one. I'm going to double check. Brock Purdy did not play year one. That's 8. And Sam Darnold played year one. That's 8 of the 32 starting quarterbacks right now that have played year one. So, and let me just look at Matthew Stafford just to make sure. I'm pretty sure Matthew Stafford played year one though as well. Yeah, he played. He had 13 touchdowns, 20 interceptions his rookie year in 2009. So there you go. Like most of the time when you draft quarterbacks in the first, I shouldn't even have put Spencer Rattler in that fucking conversation because he wasn't drafted in round one. A lot of those guys might have not been drafted in round one. Russell Wilson as well. So maybe it's good that we did them all. There you go. 8 out of the 32 starting quarterbacks all played in year one. So there you go. Simeon Toko said the 3 quarterbacks with the most yards after week 3 are Herbert, Geno Smith, and Daniel Jones. And it was Russell Wilson actually leading up into week 3. So I don't put too much emphasis on just 3 weeks of football. We'll have to see where we get. But nonetheless, all those quarterbacks, Geno Smith is not playing well. So leading in passing yards, being top 3 really don't mean shit. But Herbert, Daniel Jones, got to get him their props right now. Geno Smith has not been playing too well. Ken is in the building. He says, happy to be able to use the middle of the field finally. Yeah, that's going to be fun. That's definitely going to be fun. 59 Ways to Groove said, hey, I'm going to DM you what I was drinking on my birthday in August, man. Please do. Please do. Yeah, and people are just talking about quarterbacks that started. Stephen R. said, what games do you play? Is my dog good on the sticks? Battlefield 6 or I don't know what BO7 is coming out soon. All I play for real is Apex Legends. Occasionally, I might buy a Madden every now and again, depending on the year. Didn't get it this year or last, though. 2K, NBA 2K, kind of the same vibes. But lately, all I've been playing is Apex Legends. I've been playing a little bit of Division and a little bit of FIFA, and that's really it. I'm Authentic Music on Xbox. That's my gamer tag. If y'all want to, check me out, come run a couple of games with me or whatever, pull up, definitely. Mike Glenn said, I want to be optimistic, but my mind says this becomes Zach Wilson and Sam Darnold. Well, if it becomes Sam Darnold, I'm okay with that. But Zach Wilson, I don't know where that came from. I don't think Jaxson Dart plays the game like Zach Wilson, though. But I don't think we need to be optimistic, Mike, But we don't need to be pessimistic, right? But we don't need to be optimistic. We could absolutely just be living in reality, being realistic, right? And just waiting for the results. Ain't no problem with that. Absolutely. Let me see. Greg says, using multiple metrics, including career passing yards since 2011 and total statistical production, the top 5 statistical NFL quarterbacks since 2011 are Brady, Stafford, Breeze, Rodgers, and Mahomes. The interesting, okay, so we're saying since 2011, though, which is good. It gives you data. But those are all veteran quarterbacks that by 2011 were basically solidified outside of Patrick Mahomes. I can't even put Drew Brees in the conversation. Drew Brees was a guy that didn't start from day one, though, right? I think these numbers are a little bit skewed because you're using quarterbacks that were all drafted before 2011, right? Except Mahomes. Yeah, don't like the data there. Yeah, I can't use that. Using multiple metrics, including career passing yards. Hey, Greg, if you're on Twitter, just tag me on something and be like, yo, this is the turd hauler. I love Greg's name. Be like, this is the turd hauler from YouTube, bro. And I just want to do a bit of a deeper dive with the metrics you have, because I've done deep studies on this. And quarterbacks that play in the first round it's not a high hit rate, but a lot of them pan out to be really good quarterbacks. I'd say about 35% of the guys that have been drafted since about 2010 have all had success in the league at one point or another. Let me see. Oh, yeah. Greg talking about Big Dash is my dog, man. Big shout out to Big Dash. He does great stuff. Great production, great takes. Love the football mind. Kind of was a bit of on the Homer vibes, 2 years ago. It kind of came back down to reality. That's my dog, man. Shout out Big Dash, man. Ben Ayers says, every person has different interests. Find your niche. Yeah, man. Absolutely, bro. Nick says, the quality of this show is the best I've seen across the board. It's the little things that matter for me. Intro videos, sound effects, humor, visuals, everything. Been rocking out since last season. Salute to my dog, Nick, man. Salute to my dog, Nick. Timmy Foosball said, main thing I don't want to see on Sunday is Daboll and Kafka being cautious with Dart. Let the kid sling it. He'll gain far more confidence from that than being slow and steady with them. I'm with you. No holds bar, man. Let's let the pit bull off the leash and see what he do. You know what I'm saying? H-Town in the building said, health and wealth to all. Big salute. A-Train said, respect you, bro. Your content is on point and not biased, but honest opinions with relevant stats to back it up. I try, bro. I try. Stephen R. said, Bob Papa probably thinks the celebrity Giants fans are more fans than the season ticket holders or everyday fans. Yeah, man. Being a fan, it shouldn't be levels to this shit. One thing I try to avoid is talking about oh, you're a casual fan. You see that shit on Twitter all the time. Oh, you're a fucking casual, man, and all this shit. And I'm just there's no hierarchy to being a fan. If you're a fan of the team, you're a fan of the team. That don't mean I'm going to like you. It don't mean we're going to get along, right? Because you could be a fucking piece of shit for all I know. I don't know, and just coincidentally root for the same team I root for. But you root for the same team as I root for. There's everybody's opinion should matter to an extent. I mean, you don't want to see people just saying stupid ass goofy shit, but shouldn't be a hierarchy to being a fan. And the comments kind of came across that way. Faye said they need to touch grass. Danny Boy said, authentic, just got off work. What's your thoughts? Too early for Jaxson? Because personally, I don't care. Man, the way to sum this up is we did a giant overreaction yesterday, and I said the Giants do not want to wait until any point after week 5 to start Jaxson Dart. And that was for the good of Brian Daboll. Because listen, you want opportunities with your rookie quarterback to go out there and beat teams within the division. We're going to go up here and play the Philadelphia Eagles 2 times in a 3-week span. I want to see Jaxson Dart against the Philadelphia Eagles. Yes, y'all might think that shit crazy, but I want to see my quarterback in the same fire that we saw the veteran quarterback in, so that I can compare it to that and see if the evaluation can, lead me into a trajectory that says Jaxson Dart is either him or he ain't him. I think Jaxson Dart absolutely has a chance to be him, so we'll see. Luis said, send Russ to Cincinnati if we can. Yes, dog. Yes, dog. I knew it wasn't Brugal. It's that Mama Juana. Yes, that Mama Juana had you on your head. I definitely had some loopy-ass nights drinking Mama Juana. Yeah, y'all know what's up. Yeah, y'all know what's up. Yo, y'all definitely know what's up. Let's go. Let's go. Real people said, respect Puerto Rican and Dominicanos. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes. Sure. Yo, that's the motherfucking, the Mama Juana. Let's go, man. I'm definitely going to take another one when I get off air. Absolutely. Yeah, you know what it is, Ivan. You know what it is, dog. Yo. Hey, y'all fooling. Y'all are fooling, bro. Y'all are fooling. Hod said, all right, got to go. workout. I'll try to catch you on the next stream, man. Big salute, man. We appreciate you being here today. We're going to wrap this one up soon here for a second. JD said, how long of a leash do you think Mara gives Daboll and Dart? If they move on from Dabes, will Mara require a new coach to keep Dart? He says, I agree with you. Dabes ain't a terrible coach, but at some point results matter. They do. They absolutely. And that's a great way to finish that out, JD. Like, I don't know about how long the leash is going to be, to be honest. I think it'll at least go through this season. You don't want to have your rookie quarterback dealing with being thrusted to the Wolves here in week 4. And then let's say like by trade deadline or a little bit after that, week 9, week 10, you're firing the head coach, bringing in a whole new shit. Nah. Save that for the offseason if you want to fire Brian Daboll. So I think Jaxson Dart gets at least 14 games with Brian Daboll. Diggy said, I only drink rum with the Jamaican flag. H-Town said, Boricua power. Yeah, man, we got the islands in the building, man. Salute to all of y'all, man. Salute to all of y'all. Let me see. Yeah. You know what it is, love. You know what it is. I knew you would know, man. Like, yo, I've been with my girl forever, and my Spanish is, like, restricted to, like, just a couple of words, yo. Like, I know llaves, you know what I'm saying? Like, I definitely got the keys to the goods here. You know, this is a couple of words. I don't know. I just be struggling, and especially when it comes to these liquors. But Mama Juana is definitely where it's at, man. Y'all know ball. Y'all know ball in the chat, man. Danny Boy said, Gruden, president for football operations, and Kingsbury is the head coach. Cliff Kingsbury's looked really good in Washington. I got no pushback for that statement right there. I like that. Let me see, and I think we might have got another super chat. Yeah, we did. We got 2 of them. I apologize on that. Getting to those a little late. All right, so let's see. We got one from Joseph Winograd in the building, man. What's going on, my dog? Coming in hot with another $5 super chat. He said, bro, I got to send another super here. The vibes are 100 out of 100 on your streams. I love how you prioritize meaningful engagement, mass/superficial vibes, man. Yeah, that's what it's about, man. You know, in everything you do, you got to bring value, number one. And then, you got to go out there and you got to put in the work, man. And I do understand that. And, like, to me, this really isn't even work. It's crazy that I get to come up here and talk New York Giants football with the gang, man, and get to call it a part of my profession. It's like I always tell my homies, man, don't get no better, man. Like, and I've been blessed in my life to be able to receive these kind of blessings, like on a lot of different levels, man. Like, I'm still a kid at heart, man. Like, I'm 42 years old. I'll be 43 in July. And, like, I'm still doing shit that I was doing as a kid, like producing beats and, like, picking up the camera and trying to make movies and shit. And, like, I'm so grateful. And my gratitude is at an all-time high for that, man. So, yeah, man, definitely appreciate you recognizing that and helping us raise the bar over here, bro. I definitely appreciate that. And I think you sent in another one. Yeah, you dropped 2 of them things. That might have been an accident. I'm going to have to give you a refund on this one, man. But big shout out my dog Joseph in the building rocking out with us, bro. We'll use that one for the Fantasy Football League, the pot for the Fantasy Football League. Big salute to Joseph Winograd in here rocking out with us. Let me see. Ben Ayers says that Plaxico Burress played at 230 pounds, nearly a tight end. Yeah, he was a big boy at 6'6", man, tall dude. Let me see. And Ken says he wasn't as strong as A.J. Brown, but taller ex-wide receiver and caught everything. Yeah. Definitely not as strong as an A.J. Brown, but I just feel like he played the game very similar to that. Like, eating on the quick slant and eating on the go ball. What's this fantasy notification here? Okay. Yeah, I got some catching up to do in my fantasy league in the authentic and the beard one. I'm down, y'all. Deuce says Plax equals Nico Collins. I think Nico Collins is a little bit more swift, a little bit better in and out of the breaks, but I hear you. Maybe a little bit faster too, but that's a good comp. I'm not mad at that. Izzy said, oh, man, knowing the young fans who hardly remember the good times, Plaxico was no all-pro, but perfect weapon that could not be slept on with Eli at the helm. Great way to word that, bro. Great way to word that. Oh, this is better. Stephen R. said Plaxico was like Calvin or Andre Johnson. That's a great comp. But if, he was talking about how he didn't get a chance to see Plaxico Burress, so it's like I kind of wanted to comp him to a wide receiver that's like of this era. And those guys are kind of from like the era right around and after Plaxico Burress, but those are better comps. I got to give you that. Greg says Plax comp was Herman Moore. Ooh, Detroit OG. Yeah, Herman Moore and Rodney Peete vibes. That's where we going with it today, Greg. That's where we going with it. I like that, bro. I like that. Christian said, knock on wood, it can always get worse. Yo, this is one of my pet peeves is when people use worse and worse the wrong way. It can always get worse. Past tense, worse, right? Worst is the worst it can get. But I feel you on that. He said, God forbid that Malik gets hurt. Yeah, I talked about that a couple of streams back, man. You cannot afford to have Wan'Dale Robinson or Malik Neighbors get hurt this year. H-Town said, Chargers luckily won't have Mac, but the Chargers are a top defensive unit, allowing under 190 passing yards, under 97 rushing yards, and under 17 points a game. It can be a massacre with the rookie out there. That's true. That's true. Ben Ayers said Dan Quinn. I'm not too sure what that's about, but Dan Quinn is definitely a dog, one of the better coaches in the league. Great defensive mind. C. Cut says, I've been saying it couldn't get any worse the last 2 to 3 years. Trust me, it can. I mean, the Giants, like, they're bad. They're really fucking bad. I don't know, man. That red zone sequence on Sunday night, whew. Ben Ayers said winning by multiple scores with Mariota. Mariota wasn't doing that in the A. That's true. That's definitely true. Now, that Raiders team, though, is pretty fucking suspect right now. I will say that. And Mariota won some games in the A. He definitely won some games in the A. That was why I wanted to bring in Mariota as the quarterback that would be the bridge quarterback after 2022. Could have got him for like $5 million, $6 million. But, yeah, Dan Quinn definitely, is a better head coach today than he once was. Kevin the PRF says, if we brought Jaden Daniels in with Snyder, Bruce Allen, Rivera, we would have ruined him by now. Very possible, but we knew that Rivera was gone, right? So you knew it was going to be a new head coach. Somebody was going to hire a new head coach. Rivera wasn't coming back. You guys fired Jack Del Rio mid-season, so you knew the defensive coordinator had to be changed out as well. 2 birds, 1 stone, bringing in Dan Quinn. And, yeah, I think Jaden Daniels is what makes it all go. You know, let's use your analogy here and flip it against you, right? Had you have kept everything, or let's say you would have replaced everything but kept the same exact roster, and then you had Sam Howell at the quarterback position, y'all wouldn't have been in the NFC Championship. And I don't even like to talk about hypotheticals, but Jaden Daniels was the reason why you guys made the NFC Championship. It's just how I view it. I know you're a Commanders fan, but I've lived in D.C. and the DMV area for my whole entire life, so I can speak like a Commanders fan and speak with the best of the Commanders fans about y'all team. But shout out Kevin the PRF one time. G05 said we were on our way to back-to-back Super Bowls in 07, 08 if Plaxico never shot himself in the club. Facts. We were so damn good that year, man. Timmy Foosball said, I know your girl getting mad because these streams are getting longer and longer. No, I don't think so, man. I don't think so. Me and my girl, like, really appreciate our time apart, too. You know, it's like, can't just be all up in somebody's face all damn day. And we, I work from home and she works from home, and it's like, we be here, bro. So it's like, I'm sure these long streams don't bother at all. She's always in the chat for every one of these streams, too. Shout out to Wifey. H-Town said, everything players do in college is a wash compared to the NFL. It's all about the scheme and coaching. I'm not with you on this, H-Town. He says it's all about the scheme and coaching, play calling, and situational awareness. Players have to be allowed to be put in the best position. I agree with the ending there, right? But everything players do in college is a wash. I don't think that's – mechanics is the number one thing. Mechanics and experience. Like Brock Purdy's experience in college helped him come into the league and be the quarterback that you're seeing him being right now. And Anthony Richardson's lack of experience in college is definitely a big reason why he's struggling at the quarterback position, and Daniel Jones just went out there and took his fucking job. The Illa says, I think Cincy is okay with Jake Browning. He knows the system, personnel. He's had some big games when he's filled in for Burrow in the past. He had them 200-300-yard games, I remember, but damn, they got walked against the Minnesota Vikings this past week. But going up against Brian Flores is, not an easy task for any quarterback in the NFL, so I do agree with you on that. Solitary Camp says, we went to the playoffs with Daboll. We sure did. Dwayne Mason said, can Hyatt see the field to open the offense up? If it was up to me, yeah. But he's in the doghouse. I don't know what the fuck it is. He's in the doghouse, bro. Let's see. H-Town says, since Tom left the Giants, our 45-99-1 record, Daboll is 18-35-1. He has almost half of those losses. Let me see. I don't even know what you're saying right there. I guess he's just saying, like, sabotage the whole Wink Martindale thing. Jones to pick up Russ, knowing he was 0-6, and now Russ is 0-9. Yeah, if you include the playoffs. he's 0-9 because he lost his last 5, lost the playoff game, and then lost the first 3. But that's not on Daboll. That's not. Bringing in Russell Wilson, you can't forget that that's not just on Daboll. And I like the move for Russell Wilson. Daniel Jones, it was over, and you had to find a way to bring in a bridge quarterback unless you wanted to throw the rookie out there to the Wolves week 1, which I would have been okay with that too. I don't know what Ben Harris is saying about Purdy did half the season. Oh, he's saying Purdy started half the season. Ken is kind of clarifying. Wasn't that year 2 though? Was that? Oh yeah, because it was year 2 for Trey Lance, but it was year 1 for Brock Purdy. That's true. That's very true. Yeah, and we talked about, we kind of clarified that. We talked about Russell Wilson and a bunch of other quarterbacks that weren't drafted in round 1 as well. Ken said, Apex, let's go. Yeah, I heard Cam Scatterboo play some Apex Legends too, man. Maybe try to get him in a lobby one time here. Ben Harris said, Dart has a chance. I'm on the fence, just wait and see. Yeah, I'm rooting like all hell for Jaxson Dart to be the guy. H-Town said Judge was 10-23. Daboll is 18-35. Has been around way too long. Is the point. They cut Judge out of the picture quick. Daboll has been sabotaging the team for years. Got rid of Quadzilla Jones. Wink, just simple. Like, I'll always credit Joe Shane for being the guy that allowed Daniel Jones to get released, which was a good thing. I don't think either one of those guys wanted the quarterback, to be honest. I don't think they wanted Daniel Jones. What else did you say there? Daboll has been sabotaging the team. Did you think that in 2022? I don't think so. You said he's been sabotaging us, sabotaging the team for years. Got rid of Quadzilla. He's talking about Saquon. I never heard Saquon get called Quadzilla. I like that. I mean, I hear you, man, but look, the results ain't there. There's no way around it. Brian Daboll has not been a good coach as far as the W column goes, but I also think that these rosters have definitely been a little bit, had their fair share of deficiencies. And how much of that is on Daboll, I'm not sure. We know some of it's definitely on Daboll and some of it's definitely on Joe Shane. The fact that incompetence at coaching positions has been the issue since Tom left says it all. No ability to evaluate talent, produce on the field, create a culture or identity, just a mess. I mean, look, man, it was a mess when Tom Coughlin left too, Don't forget them last years with Tom Coughlin. It was bad. It was absolutely bad. Then we turned it over to Ben McAdoo, who had a quick little year where he had some success, and then it went to shit then too. So the Giants' organizational woes cannot be all placed upon the shoulders of Brian Daboll. That's just how I view that. But I do understand the sentiment. No Witness says, think Daboll takes play calling duties from Kafka again at some point this season. I don't. Unless it gets really bad. Christian C says, I don't think Kingsbury wants to leave anytime soon. Cardinals are still paying him. Very true. Heck, your boy's in the building. He says, what's good, Giants fam? Call Gruden and send Daboll packing now. Not mad at it. He also said it's Dart time. Josh said, used to live in South Jersey, Philly, and Philly fans be wilding out, especially now. Seeing Dart versus Philly and Philly will be a huge measure for him. Absolutely. You got Philly fans that's still not sold on Jalen Hurts, which is fucking crazy. Fucking crazy. Heck, your boy said, if offense sucks week 4, fire Daboll immediately. Nah, I'm not going there. And you're not going to bring in a head coach mid-season. But if they fire Brian Daboll mid-season, it's going to be an interim head coach that'll run Brian Daboll's system for the rest of the year, because your personnel on the team cannot afford to bring in a new scheme mid-year. They're not going to be able to learn the plays, the terminology, the vocabulary, the assignments. So if you're thinking about a John Gruden, hiring for the New York Giants, you're going to have to wait till after the season. Heck, that won't happen mid-season. Greg says Mahomes, Hurts, and Rodgers, none of whom started in year 1, have 5 Lombardis with Stafford and Flacco. The only other 2 starters who have won a Super Bowl in the NFL currently. Let me see, with only 2 other starters. Yeah, I mean, it's Patrick Mahomes has been fucking dominating, man. And before that, it was Tom Brady. So it's like, we get it. Those quarterbacks dominated the league. But, does that take away from Lamar Jackson? Does that take away from Josh Allen? I don't know. That's up to you. For me, we got to wait till Josh Allen, guys like Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert, we got to wait for those guys to get to the point where they're at their end of their career, like the guys that you're naming. All those guys are, to me, they're just guys that transition through that era, right? I mean, you're naming Hurts there, which he's a second-round pick. I don't think we can include him. Patrick Mahomes, absolutely. He had the luxury of being drafted to a team that was in the playoffs the year before he got there. It's very different, for the New York Giants here. Luis says, what's your team name in the fantasy league, Authentic? It's just Authentic, but don't forget, I'm on the other side of the league, too. There's 2 leagues with 16 teams apiece, and the Beard is in the one division, and I'm in one division as well. We did that so that we could open up all the spaces for everybody, so everyone could get a spot in the fantasy league. I didn't even think we were going to get that many people. H-Town said, for Daboll to say Russ, the guy, knowing he was 0-6 before starting a game here is I mean, look, you're really focusing, though, on the last couple of games. Like, Russell Wilson finished the regular season with the Pittsburgh Steelers with a winning record of 6-5. You can't just focus in on just those last games. Did you pick the Pittsburgh Steelers to beat the Kansas City Chiefs? Did you pick the Pittsburgh Steelers to beat the Baltimore Ravens in the last 2 matchups? Because those are the 6 matchups, right? It was actually the Baltimore Ravens 3 times, I think. And then it was the Cincinnati Bengals and it was the Philadelphia Eagles. Did you pick the Pittsburgh Steelers to win any of those games? I didn't. I did a deep dive on those last couple of games. Russell Wilson wasn't at fault for the reason why they lost those games. Their defense went from averaging 17 points per game in the first 6 games that Russell Wilson played to allowing 27.7 points per game in the last 5 games that Russell Wilson played. That was a team effort of why they lost. And more importantly, the competition, man, was tough. And then, look, now you start off the year with 2 divisional games going up against Washington, Dallas, and then the Kansas City Chiefs again. What games did you pick Russell Wilson and his team to win? In those 9 games you described, which games did you pick Russell Wilson's team to win? For me, it was 1. It was the Washington Commanders game, and it was coming off of, beginning of the season type of hype. Heck, your boy in first place out there. That's what's up, dog. Big Blue 9256 is in the building, says, going to my first Giants game in 20 years on Sunday. I'm pumped to see number 6. Good or bad, excited for the future. These are the vibes right here, dog. These are the vibes right here, man. Big shout out my dog, Big Blue, in the building one time. Luis says Omarion is going to destroy us. He's been lackluster like shit, man. Look, do y'all remember my take on Omarion Hampton? I said Omarion Hampton does not strike me as a first-round pick. Let me go look at his numbers real quick because I remember the first couple of weeks was not it. 70 yards against Denver on 19 carries, 48 yards against the Kansas City Chiefs on 15 carries, 24 yards on 8 carries against the Las Vegas Raiders. He's got 1 touchdown on the year. He's averaging 3.4 yards per carry. Luis, I'm not scared of no ghost, bro. Bring it on, Omarion. Bring it on. Nick says, I was 7 and 12 years old for the 2 Super Bowls, born in 1999. I kind of remember Plax, definitely the gunshot, laughing my ass off, but I couldn't remember how he played. A.J. Brown comp makes a lot of sense looking back. Hey, at least you was alive for those, man. You can say, hey, I was alive for them Super Bowls. That's like the 80s Super Bowl for me and the early 90s one for me. Like, I was a youngin', about the ages that you're describing there. I was like 8 years old, actually, for the 90s one, and I was 3 years old for the one in the 80s. Shout out to my young bull, though, Nick, in the building, man. We appreciate you being here. Let's see. H-Town says, team has competed, could have won those games. Unfortunately, they shot themselves in the foot. I've been hearing that, H-Town. Like, do you think we shot ourselves in the foot more than the other teams, though? Like, when you look at that Commanders game and the way that they played against us, like, you don't think they shot themselves in the foot more than we did? The Dallas Cowboys, bro, like, they had that game basically on ice, and they started off terribly those first 2 drives. I don't know, man. I always tell people that, like, when you're a fan of a team, it's by nature that you look at it from the perspective of your fighter. And think about when you watch a boxing match that you want, you watching Floyd Mayweather and you want him to win. You're viewing it from his perspective, like what he's landing and what he's not landing. But you're not looking at it from the other perspective of the other teams. Washington, they beat us by 2 scores, left a ton out there on the field, hella penalties, and still won that game pretty easily. But I know Giants fans like to look at it like, oh, no, but we were down by, 1 score with this. They're even looking at the Kansas City Chiefs game saying that was a game we should have won. And I'm just like, 4th quarter, we're down by 2 scores late in the game. I don't know if that's a game we should have won. Could have, yeah. But, we're a bad team, and bad teams find ways to lose games. Jay Fed said, have zero confidence in Daboll and Kafka developing a quarterback. I don't have 0, but I feel you. Results ain't been there. Solitary Camp said, you see what I'm saying, H-Town? You reaching, bro. H-Town said, you mad that I'm giving facts about what I'm saying. Stop playing with me and play with yourself. You don't know ball. I don't know, H-Town. This one, I'm not with you on this one, bro. Like, I don't know, bro. Like, I just think you're looking at it from, like, our perspective a little bit too heavy. Like, what games did you pick us to win, H-Town? Did you pick us to win any of those first 3 games? Like I was saying before, bro, when you look at Russell Wilson's 9 games that you're talking about that he's 0-9 in, how many of those games did you pick him to win? That's really the question here. I don't think this is a matter about knowing ball or not knowing ball. I think that's just the question there. Christian C said, no, I live in Philly. Eagles fans think Hurts is a top 5 quarterback and will die behind that argument. Now, I'm not saying that there aren't fans, right? I'm not saying all Eagles fans don't like Jalen Hurts. But look, I'm on Twitter and I'm engaged with a lot of Philadelphia Eagles content creators and Philadelphia Eagles fans. And there are a ton of them that still don't think Jalen Hurts is the right guy. He went out there and won a Super Bowl for them, and they still are like, I don't know, man. Maybe we can upgrade the quarterback position. I'm not saying all Eagles fans. Obviously, it's not all of them, but some for sure. Stephen R. said Kafka will be the interim head coach. Absolutely. I mean, he's the assistant head coach right now. They paid him a little bit of extra money. So if they fire Brian Daboll, he better be the interim head coach. Kevin the PRF said you can agree with bringing in a bridge, but you still have to add Russell Wilson to the bonfire of Joe Schoen's free agency failures. Joe Schoen got more free agency hits, though. I mean, like that's where he's getting the most of the talent on his roster. So it's a failure. It didn't work out. He only played 3 games, but I don't know what people were expecting from Russell Wilson. Like, I said the Giants were going to win 6 games at the beginning of the year. The first 3 games weren't really those games. Y'all know week 1, I got to come out here hype and pick my team, but I didn't pick them against the Dallas Cowboys. I actually thought it was going to be a blowout. They kept the game close. And then against the Kansas City Chiefs, I didn't pick them either. So I don't know how much of bringing in a bridge quarterback. Like, can we look at bringing in a bridge quarterback and say that's a failure? I don't think we can. Do you look at the New England Patriots and go, man, bringing in Jacoby Brissett as the bridge quarterback, playing him 7 games, that's a failure. I don't look at it like that. He's a bridge quarterback. His whole fucking goal was to get to the rookie. Did he not do that? He did it kind of fast, but he did it. So I don't look at bridge quarterbacks as success or fail. Like, if Russell Wilson would have came out here, though, and fucking lit it up and put up 40 touchdowns, then you'd be looking at Joe Schoen like, God damn, bro, you killed that. You knocked that out the park. But he was here to be a bridge quarterback. They signed him to a 1-year deal, a smart 1-year deal, worth $10 million with incentives up to $21 million. You spent $10 million to have Russell Wilson come out here and start for 3 games. I ain't mad at it. H-Town says, Dart is a good quarterback. Roster isn't the worst. Head coach should teach technique, discipline, and raise players' IQ. If Daboll goes 0-17, 2-15, what's the excuse then for Daboll and Joe? We'll tackle that issue when we get there. If he goes 0-17, it's a fucking problem, right? I mean, like, that would be a major problem, H-Town. Like, major. But what would you say about this roster isn't the worst? But this roster offensively is cheeks, bro. This roster, you got Malik Neighbors and Wan'Dale Robinson and cheeks surrounding it. I know a lot of people are hype on Cam Scatterbo already, but I'm just not quite there yet. Like, I think Cam is a very capable running back, but, like, I'm not going to be, like, shaking pom-poms for 60 yards on the ground and 60 through the air. Good game bomb, though. Can't take that away. Good game bomb. He said, still confused. Shane keeps getting a partial pass. He's like the Daniel Jones of general managers. I don't think it's the same. I mean, general manager is just a different thing, man. It takes a while. Do you remember when Howie Roseman got hired by the Philadelphia Eagles? Do you remember what they were going through that time? They had the persistence to keep him around, and look what happened. They got 3 Super Bowl appearances since, man. Like, I don't look at general manager like quarterback. Quarterback's like, we draft you, bro. You get 3 fucking years, man. 3 years. That's it. General managers should get more than 3 years. And Joe Schoen's, he's entering his 4th year now. So I ain't gonna sit up here and make no excuses for him. He hasn't drafted well, but I'm also not gonna come up here and be like, fire his ass. Fire him right now. Mid-season. We're 0-3, fire him. Like, that's just that reactional fan shit that I don't do. It ain't my style. Stephen R. said Bowen should get fired as well, and I'd like Manuel to be the DC. Plenty of games to evaluate if he's a good defensive coordinator. If not, Pierce is a good defensive coordinator option. I mean, you'd see him within Shane Bowen's scheme. That's the issue for me. But if you want Shane Bowen fired, fire him. But, like, from what I've seen 2 out of 3 games where Shane Bowen's defense kept the New York Giants in it, where if their offense was scoring points, they would have been in the game. The Dallas game, unacceptable. Absolutely unacceptable. H-Town said, so is Russell at fault for the interception in OT? Interception at Chiefs throwing to the field goal post multiple times in the red zone? Yeah, ain't he? Yo, when you throw the ball away out the back of the end zone on fourth down, who else's fault is that? I almost don't understand the statement. Like, I don't know. Like, you can't throw the ball out the back of the end zone on fourth down. That's on you. The interception in overtime, I can't put that all on Russell Wilson because our wide receiver one and Malik Neighbors took the blame. He told you. He said, that's on us. We got to have better communication. So, like, I don't know what they're being asked to do in the room. What I saw on the tape was that Russell Wilson was getting a little bit of pressure in his face, made the right decision, threw the ball down the field. Not if it was the way I thought it was, Russell Wilson would have wanted that ball a little bit more towards the sidelines. Instead, it drifted to the center of the field, and it caused an interception. The interceptions against the Chiefs, yeah, pressing the issue, throwing into double coverage. I put some of that on Russell Wilson, and I put some of that on Brian Daboll because from what I saw on tape, it looked like they tried to establish the running game early on in that game, and then after they established the running game, they were eager and impatient to try to get the ball down the field. And go look at the concepts where Russell Wilson threw the interceptions. I actually did a whole all-22 session myself where I wrote down notes on every one of the throws. Both of the plays that he threw interceptions on were vertical concepts where he really had no check down, no nothing. So it's clear as day that they were trying to take a shot there, in my opinion. Luis says he ate against the Broncos. 70 yards on what? What was it? 3.7 yards per carry is 8. I don't know, bro. Longest run of the day, 11 yards. That's 8. That's eating. And maybe that's why people looking at Cam Scatterbo differently than I'm looking at Cam Scatterbo, because that's just that used to be the floor threshold for me with Saquon Barkley. I used to say that if the Giants want to win a game, you need Saquon to get to 70. And let me just make sure I'm reading the numbers right because, yeah, 3.7 yards per carry, which is below the number I like. I like 3.9 yards per carry as the floor. Najee Harris's career, I believe, is averaging 3.9 yards per carry. 19 carries for 70 yards. And a long of 11? That's eating? Okay. Shout out Luis. That's not really eating for me. That's bare minimum. Heck, your boy said he playing like B2K Amari. God damn. H-Town said facts. Russell done QB that never in his career used the middle of the field, only good with running game and a moving pocket and great defense. Those are facts, not reaching. I don't know. If you look at the pass charts from last year with the Pittsburgh Steelers, the most frequent spot that Russell Wilson threw the ball was in the middle of the field, 20+, and in the middle of the field, 10 and under. So I don't know if that's necessarily facts. I don't know. I haven't looked at all of his numbers through every one of his years, but I got some time today. We'll make that a project. Lydia says that Chargers run blocking is really bad. They've been making defenses respect them on Harbaugh and Roman's name recognition alone, okay? JDJ said, I met Plax at a club a few years back, and I shook his hand, thanked him for the championship. I can confirm he doesn't wear sweatpants to clubs anymore. I like that. H-Town and Solitary Camp still going at it. Yo, all my folk that come over from Bleacher Report, when they get over here to YouTube, it's different vibes. Like, Bleacher Report is such like a fucking like, like people just like, about football. It's just very like aggressive. Whereas like YouTube's just like super laid back, everybody chilling like, hey man, have your own opinion, man. Do your thing. It's wild to see the two worlds collide. Solitary said, yo, I'm going to put these on the screen for y'all. Let me see. So H-Town, oh no, it wasn't that one. It was another one. It was another one. Damn, I missed the other one from H-Town. It flew. It's gone now. It's gone. He talked about how he was just yapping. Solitary Camp said, nah, all that yapping you doing. Yeah, here it go right here. You yapping, Solitary Camp, all day long. Russ isn't picked to win this year, but 2 games, if that, and last year, Fields won for them. Russ was hurt, and he went a game above 500. Yeah, and Justin Fields had that 4-2 record. I like both those quarterbacks, man. They going at it, boy. They going at it. Luis said the Chargers also played some of the best defenses against the run. We are absolutely terrible. Amarion will get 150 yards total. You want to make the bet, Luis? hit me up. I'll take that bet all day. I got a C note on that bet right now that Amarion Hampton won't get over 150 yards total. Hit me up on anyway, authentic at allornothingstudios.com, or hit me up on Twitter at authentic. I'll take that bet all damn day. H-Town said the Giants competed each game, was in it when they shouldn't have been. If the coaching was better, they have the roster playing better to find ways to win. That's why I don't know, man. It's a 3-game sample size, right? Joe Judge never had Daniel Jones. The only game that Joe Judge had Daniel Jones throwing the ball vertical, like for real, was against the Saints in 2021. We saw Pat Shurmur get success out of Daniel Jones, where he had 3 games, actually, where Daniel Jones lit it the fuck up his rookie year. The Jets game, the Lions game, and the Washington Commanders game, where he had 5 touchdowns as well. The offensive performance we saw against Dallas, you never saw that in the Joe Judge era. So I don't know, but I'm not mad at you wanting Joe Shane and Brian Daboll out. Not mad at that, but like, I don't know if it's only been 3 games. That's the tough part. And then think about the games that we saw from the quarterback position in 2022 underneath Brian Daboll as well. Think about the 3 games with Tommy DeVito in 2023, where Tommy DeVito had 3 wins. He won back-to-back games where he put up over 300 yards in one of those games, and he also had back-to-back games with 2 touchdowns in each one of those games. We're talking Tommy DeVito. I heard a caller call in on a Big Blue Kickoff Live on the Giants channel, and was like, yeah, man, bring back Tommy DeVito and all this shit. I'm just like, yo, y'all fuck crazy, man. Stephen R. said, Manuel comes from a man-to-man aggressive style defense, though, so you think he'd still – yeah, because the terminology, bro, like you might get different calls, but the way that the New York Giants philosophy and terminology for their defense is built is off of Shane Bowen. So you can't just come in and change that. You can't just have new plays and add new wrinkles and do all the things that you want to do as a new defensive coordinator. So, I mean, I'd be cool with them taking over as the interim defensive coordinator, but you want to get the real defensive coordinator locked in, you're going to have to do that, at the end of the season. Shout out Rich Westcott in the building, man. It's my dog, my day one. He said it's nice to yap with other football heads. Trying to talk football with normies is painful. It do. I feel you on that. It do get a little crazy sometimes. When I be talking with just some of the regular homies, I be like, man, y'all motherfuckers talking crazy shit, man, every year. Every year. All right. He said, hey, the bet's on the table, bro. Reach out. Reach out. Bet's on the table. I've been looking for a good bet. Let me see this. I saw some about, Stephen R. said, never mind. Koo was signed to the practice squad, not the active roster, so Gano is still the kicker. We're going to see how that changes out, man, when we get to Sunday. Hopefully they change that, because Gano's groin's fucked up. You're not just going to fix a groin in 5 days. That's not going to happen. H-Town said, watching film shows that Russ missed many wide receivers, didn't stand in the pocket longer. Man, y'all be trying to explode my brain with the way y'all be wording this shit. Didn't stand in the pocket longer. Read the field wrong, I guess. Didn't trust his anticipation in throws. Some was okay, scheme, and a lot was on Russ. The last game, yeah. A lot of that was definitely on Russ last game. That's what I hope you reiterating what I was saying. I mean, that red zone situation was fucking terrible. Diggy said, Omarion out there looking like Orion. Hey, H-Town. He kind of got a point here, right? He kind of has a point here, right? Like you literally just said, right? I love y'all so much, bro. You literally just talked about everything that Russell Wilson did fucked up right here, right? That's a good point. It's a good point, bro. It's a good point here. H-Town says, now Daboll benches Russ to keep his job. You troll too funny, bum, that keeps reaching my... Come on, man. Let's just be kosher. We don't got to talk about we don't got to get into the homosexual vibes, H-Town and all that. Like, let's keep it ball here. He got a point here, right? Like, you kind of complaining about Russell Wilson being benched. You just said you watched the tape, and everything that you saw on the tape about how much was Russell Wilson's fault. Solitary camp comes back, and he says that's why they benched him. I don't know, bro. I don't know. Bless up KG said, authentic, my guy. Y'all funny as shit, cuz. He said, authentic, my guy. You got your wish. Let's hope Dart can live up to all of this hype. I don't like it, but fuck it. I was about to sell this week's tickets, but now, shit, I'm in there 100. I like this vibe. I like this. With new data comes a new take. That's what it is, man. And I don't know if this was necessarily my personal wish, but, you know, if I had it my way, Russell Wilson would have went out here and balled out the first 3 weeks, but that didn't happen. You know, same thing happened to Eli Manning, man. It was iffy play. It wasn't terrible play. It wasn't great play. And they put him on the bench, man. Shout out, bless up, KG, man. I'm glad I got a chance to catch you before we end this stream here. Jay Fed said, Amari on 150 yards? No. Solitary Camp said, you got it, H-Town. You got it. Stephen R. said, by the time Brian Branch is a free agent, Tyler Nubin might be up for a contract in Holland. Was a 3-year deal. I think Branch would be a great free agent pickup. I wanted him in that Banks draft. That would be crazy if they allowed him to walk in free agency. But, you know, we saw that with Xavier McKinney. JD said, you're authentic. Thanks for keeping us entertained for the last 3 to 4 hours. You the man, bro. Salute, man. Thank you for y'all for keeping me entertained, man. This back and forth in the chat has been fucking hilarious, man. H-Town said, I'm not for Russ, so I don't know what you mean. Well, you're saying that he benched him to keep his job, but you're also saying that, like, his play on the field has been poor. Is it both? Is it a little bit of both? Maybe it's a little bit of both. He said my boy H-Town had a aneurysm. Y'all dumb as shit, man. Hey, I look, we 3 hours in. I'm going to get up out of here in a second. I'm almost at the bottom of the chat, though. That's kind of awesome here. Diggy says, they keep asking why Russ keeps bailing from pockets. He can't see. That is very true. Now, like I told you, I did a deep dive on the All-22 this last week, and I know people are highlighting the one play where Malik Neighbors ran the deep dig, and he was open for about, like, maybe 15 yards, and Russell Wilson did bail from the pocket. Outside of that, against the Chiefs, he didn't bail in the pocket really in no other instances, unless he was bailing right down the middle of the pocket and getting some rushing yards. Luis says, just DM'd you authentic. Let's do it. All right, that's a bet. I'm all for that. 150 from scrimmage for Amarion Hampton. It's on record. I'm a man of my word. If I lose that bet, you got it, bro. But listen, when I win that bet, I don't want no sidestepping, no tiptoeing. I get paid next week shit. No, I don't want none of that shit, Luis. All right? I'm going to hit the DM. We going to make that official for sure. No witnesses said bold prediction. Wandale, #1 PPR receiver this week off of the quick slant game. I like it. I like it. Bergs is in the building, says, here, real late fan, but I hope the kid is everything we're hoping for. Yup, and be patient, y'all. We're not going to figure out if this kid is the kid within one game, right? Be patient. It's going to take some time. East Coast Gridiron said, he said we interpreted wrong, but we needed hooked on phonics, and I am hieroglyphics interpreter to understand his original comment. Yeah, it was a little, that spell check be fucking us all up from time to time. Players fuck up from time to time. We understand. Shout out H-Town. Shout out my dog Dante. Shout out Solitary Camp in the building. We all family up in here. I fight with my brothers sometimes too. Y'all know what it is. Kevin the PRF says Russell doesn't throw digs, moonball or dump off. Where's the lie? Russell Wilson has been the most frequent check down quarterback in the entire National Football League over the past 2 seasons. H-Town said, not for Russ, because what does it do for the team? Absolutely nothing. He isn't winning games or getting anywhere for the future. Dart playing game 1 was the way to go. Simple, poor coaching, my whole point. So you just wanted to see Jaxson Dart start week 1. Well, now it happened 3 weeks later. At least they didn't do it 14 weeks down the line. That would have bothered you more, right, H-Town? That's what I'm getting from it. Shout out Mystery SAJA. I don't know if it's Saja or maybe it's just an acronym. Says Daboll and Shane just played their last card to save their jobs. But I'm scared they didn't develop Dart. Look at Danny Dimes and what he's doing with a different team. Do we really trust Dabes? Listen, do we trust Dabes? No, right? We don't trust Dabes all the way. Danny Dimes, he's played 3 games against a combined record 1-8. Danny Dimes, I'm going to call him Danny Dimes for today. I never said that shit, but Danny Dimes, the level of his play was never in question. It was the consistency of the level of his play that was in question, right? So seeing Daniel Jones go over to Indianapolis right now and put it together for 3 games, I can pull together some 3-game stints where Daniel Jones had some average games. Definitely not 3-game stints where he had back-to-back performances with at least 2 touchdowns, because he went 41 straight regular season games not doing that. And if you look at his games with the Indianapolis Colts, he's still a 1 passing touchdown a game type of quarterback. let's see how it goes. Daniel Jones is in the best situation that he has been in his entire career. Nice offensive line. He's got a great running back, which we should have kept that around for him in his last season here with the Giants. That was foolish when we drafted Malik Neighbors in 2024. You know, he's got a nice little defense over there. He's got some competency at the coaching position. You know, Steichen is definitely no slouch. We saw that with the Eagles. Good vibes for him. And I see a lot of people are saying Indiana Jones different, no lie. Yeah, so far so good, man. Got to commend Daniel Jones for the play that he has put forth thus far. I mean, he's hitting some deep shots down the field. He's answering drives and answering scores, and his team is scoring high points, and he's winning games, most importantly, man. So, listen, I just encourage y'all to just wait it out, though. Like, get a full season. Don't allow 3 games to trump 6 years. That's what I'll say. Even if Daniel Jones, I've been telling y'all this, I don't give a fuck if Daniel Jones goes out there and puts up 50 touchdowns, 50,000 yards, 500 completions. It's not going to erase what happened over the last 6 years. Now, if you go out there and you do it for 2 years, I'm going to start to be like, damn, maybe it's starting to click for Daniel Jones. Maybe he's getting that Sam Darnold kind of thing going on for him. Maybe he's getting that Geno Smith thing going on for him. Because when you are athletically as gifted as Daniel Jones is, right, because he is a gifted football player, there's no doubt about that. He can throw the ball down the field. He can make throws on all levels, right? And he has the capability to be a dual threat running quarterback. When you get experience and you have that skill set, you should be able to go out there and win some games. So we'll see. Jaji05 says y'all need to do 150 for 150. I'm going to propose that to Luis in the chat. Lord knows I need that 150. Let's go. Bless Up said if Daboll can't make this kid look good by week 10, get his ass up out of here. Seriously, our offense has been cheeks since he's been here. Straight BBL, no cellulite. Yeah, those are the worst kind right there too, man. I'm definitely with you on that. Week 10, so we talking what, about a good 6, 7 games? That's good enough to see what's going on with it. No Mets, no Nets, no Jets says, as an ex-DJ homer, fuck DJ. He ain't a Giant no more. Wish him the best, though. I like that. Christopher Moody said, nah, 50 touchdowns, different, even for DJ. You're right, but shit, I'm telling you, bro, if he put up 50, he's on pace for 17 right now. If he put up 50, I'd still be like, damn, good year by Daniel Jones, but we need to see if he can come back and run it back again. Greg says 6 years under an incompetent organization for DJ, who was more concerned with making their daughters Hollywood stars than fostering a winning football culture. Wellington is rolling in his grave right now. Jones just wasn't good, though. They gave him 6 years of opportunity. He wasn't good. Yeah, I can only judge what's out there on the tape. You could argue the scheme wasn't right. They didn't put the right pieces around him. They gave him pretty much three opportunities. They gave him an opportunity as a rookie to start over Eli Manning. Then they gave him a new opportunity in 2021 and said the kid ain't got no weapons. All we've drafted is Darius Slayton. Since he got here as a rookie, a 5th-round wide receiver, let's get him some weapons. They brought in Kenny Galladay. They drafted Kadarius Toney. They brought in John Ross, brought in Kyle Rudolph, probably in some more shit. He still was not good. We changed out from Pat Shurmur to Joe Judge with Jason Garrett to new offensive coordinators to the homeboy from Cleveland that I can never remember his name, right? To then going to Brian Daboll. It all didn't work. I saw Dak Prescott excel under Jason Garrett, right? I've seen Josh Allen excel under Brian Daboll. So why didn't the competent coaching fuck them up? Is it just the organization? Are we, since the Black Cat on what was that, Monday night against Dallas Cowboys? I don't know, bro. I'm not too sure. Got to keep it funky with you. I'm not too sure. But I know that when Daniel Jones was playing with the New York Giants, it was hella inconsistencies within his game. And a lot of the inconsistencies had nothing to do with the scheme. Like, I watched Daniel Jones roll to his right and throw a screen pass right to a fat-ass defensive lineman, like, no problem. Yeah, I know the offensive line wasn't good. Yes, we're talking about Kitchens. Yes, absolutely Kitchens. Thank you. I can never fucking remember his name because it didn't matter. He was no good when he was here. Yeah, it was bad. Oh, yeah, Paris Campbell. Thank you, Solitary Camp. Paris Campbell, Sterling Shepard, Darren Waller, all of that shit. And had Saquon Barkley. The offensive line was cheeks. Ain't no way around it. The boat trip. Yeah, bro. Heck, your boy said DJ had more than enough time here. Let me see a jump so I could just look here. Let's see. Say he had more than enough time here. Good luck to him in Indianapolis. I just want Dart to be the next Mahomes or close to it if possible. Yeah, man. Listen, I want Jackson Dart to be Michael Vick infused with Tom Brady. Let's go out there and win some fucking games. Greg says, I've also seen Jalen Hurts regress under Dave's at Bama. He is and has never been a QB whisperer or guru. I ain't here to debate the whole QB whisperer. I never liked that term. It reminds me of generational talent a little bit, but QB whisperer, I'm not with that. But Brian Daboll, I think, has worked hard to get to where he is at today. And I can't take that away from him. Devon Peterson says, I dare you to run those rec names down again. Laughing my ass off. Nah, we ain't finna to do that. What's he talking about, the rec names? The rec names? You talking about the receivers, maybe? Yeah, man. Let's see. Mr. SAJA said, no disrespect, Aug, but me and you could have developed Josh Allen. They played us thinking Dave's was this offensive guru. I don't know about that, bro. I don't know about that. Because Josh look, from an accuracy standpoint, when he first came in the league, I was saying crazy shit like Daniel Jones was going to be better than him back then. Promise, bro. Promise. And then, man, that third year, that's the difference. When they got him that true wide receiver one, because Buffalo's wide receiver core the first 2 years Allen was there was straight cheeks. When they got him Stephon Diggs, it just opened it all the way up. And they were doing that with no running game, with no real running back over there for real. You know, I just can't sit up here and say that Brian Daboll had nothing to do with it. Can we sit up here and say that Josh Allen probably would have turned into the guy he turned into? Absolutely. Absolutely. Stephen R. said the fact that we had that many primetime games in the Daniel Jones era is crazy. That's facts. Bless Up said, name 3 coaches in the league right now worse than Shermer, Judge, and Daboll. Let's see. Some of them have already been fired. You could argue Mike McDaniel. You could argue Brian Callahan. And you could argue, think about some terrible coaches now. I'll give you 2. I ain't going to give you 3. I ain't going to disrespect no other coaches. He also said, and throw bum-ass Jason Garrett in there too. Kid never had a chance. I wish him the best, but I'm on the dart train now. I don't know, man. Jason Garrett was there a couple of years ago with Dak Prescott cooking the fuck out of the NFC East, man. Regular season. I hear you, man. I hear you, bro. Diggy says they had Saquon's replacement, Motor Singletary, behind Josh Allen. H-Town said Rush wasn't seeing the open receivers or letting plays develop. The O-line has improved a lot and gave him time. Scheme wasn't the worst. Dart will definitely let it rip and make the right read, hopefully. I'm hoping for it. Yes. Yeah. Shane Waldron is fucking trash. JD Day said, if DJ goes out there and wins a primetime game with the Colts, you think Mara fires Daboll the same night? No. Daniel Jones won a damn, my camera's over here fucking lunching. Daniel Jones did win one primetime game with us. Get this back. We've been up here too long. My camera's like, bro, what do you want me to do, man? I've been focusing for fucking 3 hours here. Thank you, bro. Yeah, this is it, man. Who cares about Daniel Jones? It's darts time. Facts, man. Facts. Jay Fed said he's taking the Rams this week. That should be a good test. Nice little test. Christian said, hey, man, take another shot and let's go for another hour, man. Nah, we about to wrap this thing up. Solitary Camp said DJ has a good test with the Rams this week. Yeah, that's definitely a good test. I'm looking forward to it. All right, last one here. H-Town says Jeff Hafley needs to be the head coach, Gruden OC, and let it ride out. A culture will be back in the building for sure with that leadership. I like that. Adam says, watch the offense with Dart and Scat and Neighbors start to produce. Can't wait. You know, one thing I will say before we get up out of here is that we in this motherfucker yapping, all right? It's like, no. One thing I'm going to say before I get up out of here is that no matter what you think about Jaxson Dart and Russell Wilson, it's very apparent that they ran 2 different systems in the preseason. Will that trickle over and find its way into the regular season here now that Jaxson Dart is getting the start in week 4? We shall see. I'm absolutely looking forward to seeing my future franchise motherfucking quarterback in Jaxson Dart go out there and show us what he can do. Listen, man, I'm ready for this. It's New Jack City. Jaxson Dart about to go over here, and hopefully, you know, we can see him week to week develop And by the time we get to Hard Knocks in December, shit is looking straight fire. We shall see. We're going to live it there. We're going to leave it there. Salute to all of y'all, man, for rocking out for 3 hours and 20 minutes on this version of the Giant Overreaction, where we got great breaking news that Jaxson Dart has been named the starter for the New York Giants going into Week 4 against the Los Angeles Chargers, man. Y'all know what it is. I already see some of y'all ahead of the curve throwing the biceps in the chat, man. Y'all know what it is, man. Throw them biceps in the chat one time. And if you got to this point in the stream, 3 hours and 20 minutes, I need you to put, we're going to go with Kareem Yee. Since we took a shot for Jaxson Dart today, I need you to put the beers cheering emoji in the chat section. Salute to all of y'all, man. Y'all know it's all love, man, even with a little bit of debates going back and forth. I see Richie Westcott said he liked that New Jack City. Shout out to my homie who coined that term. I heard him talking about that on Twitter, man. But, yeah, man, you know we can't do this without y'all. It's always great to come up here and talk ball with y'all, man. It's always a vibe up here on Authentic in the Beard. Today we had a lot of new first-time viewers, first-time listeners in the building. And if you was digging the vibes, man, you know what it is, man. Hit the subscribe button. If you wasn't digging the vibes and, maybe you might pop back up for another Giant Overreaction without subscribing, we welcome you with open arms, man. Y'all know how we end every stream over here on Authentic in the Beard. Keep raising that bar. Keep living those dreams, because the universe flows in Technicolor and surround sound, and a life without dreams is a life in black and white. Rest in peace to the podcast GOAT and New York legend, Combat Jack. And as the homie said earlier in this stream, it's fucking Technicolor time, y'all. Dream, y'all. Jaxson Dart has his first start on Sunday. We'll be back before then for sure. Y'all know we're doing the Thursday preview show at around 1 p.m. Who knows? Maybe we pop up tomorrow and do another stream and keep the vibes high throughout the first week that we're going to get to see Jaxson Dart start for the New York Giants. It's a vibe, y'all. Y'all enjoy the rest of y'all. What's today? Tuesday evening. I'm about to go get some grub. Maybe pop on the sticks, maybe play a little bit of Apex Legends. Again, it's Authentic Music, man, on Xbox if you want to pull up, rock out with your boy. And, man, this was love, man. This was a vibe. It was good to celebrate today with y'all here and have something to celebrate, that most importantly, with Jaxson Dart getting named as a starter. I'll catch y'all on the flip side. Y'all be easy, man. Peace and love to all of y'all. And when I win that 150 next week from Luis, I'll come up here and make it rain with a super chat for y'all. Y'all be good, man. Peace, y'all.
Spike don't care.